to the Pride of Detroit live show. Give it up for you guys for coming out here. So awesome for you guys to all come out here on the eve of one of the biggest games of the season, Lions-Packers. Who's excited for that game? Yes. But we're also excited for tonight because we're raising money for a great cause. As you can see, that QR code, if you guys want to donate tonight, that is to the Rogel Cancer Center, University of Michigan. Awesome organization. Obviously, cancer is near and dear to my heart in terms of a cause that we're looking to help out. I've kind of talked about how I was close to my dad. A University of Michigan Rogel Cancer Center, a place just like that was one of the reasons I got to spend an extra 15 years with him. They got to treat him, they got to take care of him, and I want that for as many people as possible. So that's why we're raising money tonight. But we're also going to do a lot of other awesome stuff. We're going to do a lot of Lions talk. We're going to have special guests. We're going to have a really good time. And so we're going to give giveaways at the end too. Some quick announcements before we get going here. There are free pizza in the back if you haven't gotten those. There are drinks for sale over there. There are free stickers. You guys love free stickers, right? Right behind the sound stage, there's a table with some free stickers. And yeah, I think that's just about it in terms of announcements. Really quick, how many of you listen to the podcast? How many of you don't listen to the podcast? Okay. Don't sound so excited about it. Well, just a quick rundown of what we're going to do tonight. We're going to interview some guests. We're going to talk Lions football. We're going to have our main panel of our POD cast. We're going to have giveaways and all sorts of fun stuff. But we got a guest coming in 3 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and jump to introducing the rest of our cast. First, let's start with the adequate host, the best damn ad reader when it comes to Righteous Felon, Chris Perfett. Where are you at? Where's Chris? Where are you at? All right. Let's not milk it. Let's go. Yes.
This is a dream to have all of you here. This is awesome. This is fantastic. Thank you. And thank you for listening to POD.
Appreciate that. Our next co-host, I guess is what we're calling him today, he is the senior editor of Pride of Detroit. He is the rock god. Ryan Matthews is here. Woo! And of course,
we're crossing the streams here, I think.
the half man,
Love you too.
half machine,
All
Eric Schlitt is here.
all beard. Natural.
All right, well, we did it, guys. That's the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Tip your waiter on the way out.
So like I said, the way this whole thing is going to work is we're going to have some guests kind of cycle through here. We're going to talk a little bit about the Rogel Cancer Center later today. But it's mostly going to be a Lions-related show because, I mean, it doesn't matter where we're at. We love to talk Lions football, and so that's what we're here to do, right, guys?
We are?
Oh,
we really
did I not tell you?
This? I thought the Go Loins thing was actually serious. We were skipping to start talking about tenderloin, pork loin, do a cooking show.
You're so Italian.
What?
You're so Italian.
So Italian. I'm sorry. What? You want to go right now? No. We're here to talk about Lions, of course. Why not? Why would we not talk about the best team in the NFL?
Yeah.
The best team in the NFL, the National Football League.
I love that. Can we get, let's go. FTP.
FTP.
FTP. I love that.
You guys are really fired up about sending files over the internet, I see.
All right, so we are.
I got a few tech people.
There you go. We do have a couple people. We have a guest coming very soon, but before we do that, we got a bunch of donations off stream that I kind of want to shout out. And like I said, if you guys want to donate, that's your QR code right there. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit you on the face. But let me get to a couple like super big ones that we got between our last stream on Saturday and now. We had a $5,000 donation from an anonymous donor, which It's anonymous, so I'm not going to say their name, but to whoever you or wherever you're at, very much appreciate the really nice message that you sent along with it. We had a $16 donation, which feels Jared Goff inspired, I imagine.
I would imagine so.
I would imagine.
We actually had someone, an anonymous,
thought.
that gave a series of donations, a $16 donation, which was Goff inspired, a $26 5-cent donation, which was Jameer Gibbs, Dave Montgomery inspired.
And Knuckles, yeah.
Very clever. $68.58.
Yeah,
Can we figure that one out?
The offensive tackles.
You're on top of it. And then 97.97.
Hutch.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you want to get creative with
Double
your donations
Hutch.
tonight, we'll read off alerts. We'll read off anybody who wants to send a message, or if you want to keep it anonymous, we'll keep it anonymous.
What's Jack Fox's number? Or maybe we could do like a Jack Fox punt.
We don't want to celebrate punters here.
No,
we don't want to
do.
see any punters here.
Hamza
to the
couldn't
brand.
make it. Someone has to carry the banner.
The other thing is we're going to continue to do our PODcast shenanigans. So we do have the Wheel of Pain here.
I can't believe this is happening.
So for every $1,000 that we raise, every time we cross over another $1,000, we're going to spin this, and I'm going to stick some of that gross stuff in my body.
Pause.
And
Seriously.
The worst of which,
well,
this is pickled pig's feet.
oh man.
Yes.
Once you put it in the fridge, you cannot get it unfrozen. We have some smelling salts in here too, and this
do.
might be a family event with the smelling salts.
Well, when I was backstage with Eric, I saw the Roomba. We're giving that away.
Yes. We
What?
have
Wait,
a
hold
Roomba.
on, what?
Why?
Why do we have a
Can't
Roomba?
tell you why, but there's a Roomba that we're giving away at the end of the night.
It might be slightly used though, because if we raise enough money, it might need to pick up all of Jeremy's hair clippings, right?
That's true.
right.
Yeah.
That's
It's a real
true.
possibility, and we are
Yes.
being live streamed right now on Twitch and YouTube. Hello to those audiences.
Yes.
As
So
always.
the number right now we're at is $42,627 raised for the Rogel Cancer Center. First of all, give it up for that. That's incredible. Now, that does not include the auction that is currently ongoing, and that's going to go through the end of the night until midnight, which I believe the leading bids are another $3,700 on top of that, pushing us to about, I think, over $4,600.
That's
and so, if we get to $50,000 tonight, I'm going to get a tattoo. Not here live. We don't have a tattoo artist.
Wait, why not?
I mean,
You brought a Roomba.
is there anyone here that can do a
artist.
tattoo that brought all their equipment?
Hey, you got the
Don't
gun?
ask that. Don't ask for that.
If we somehow get to 60,000, I will shave my head live here tonight in front of you all.
I feel like that's reversed. I feel like
A
the
lot of
head
people feel that
shave is
way.
first.
Yeah. But listen, this is valuable right here.
Yeah, but
you
you
got to
also-
pay for this.
If it's valuable, then why'd you bring the shears?
Because I'm challenging the audience tonight. I don't believe you can do it.
Typical sticktator behavior, for sure.
I brought free stickers today.
I know.
know,
You
yeah,
brought
the
me that
stickers.
anymore.
This is a real breakdown of protocol.
Tons of stickers back there. Go ahead and grab them.
Yeah.
Pocket a few.
Okay. Oh,
Dye it blue?
See, I dyed the
Little
mustache
Amon-Ra
blue
St. Brown.
You did.
back in the day.
Yeah.
My
That was a
lord.
nightmare.
How,
That
how,
wasn't
I ingested so
how
much
much
bleach
to dye
that night.
that?
We were
Yeah, I
worried.
had bleach before I came here, just to bleach a little of the color out myself.
Yeah.
It's very
But
festive.
yeah, I remember the bleach on the mustache and the mouth. That was a horror show, man.
And that is, speaking of holidays, one of the themes we're going to get to tonight.
Yes.
We are thinking of Lions at the Holidays for this live POD cast, and we're going to take you on a little carol of our own.
Yes.
Once we get to the first guest, though.
That's right. How are we looking on our guests? Still waiting? Okay.
That was a thumbs up.
Okay. Are we ready to introduce? All right.
All right.
Our very first guest is here today.
All right.
She has a long history with the POD cast, and she's joining us virtually. ESPN's Mina Kimes is here.
Through the interwebs.
There she is.
Oh, my lord. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right.
All right.
Welcome, Mina.
How's it going? How's it going?
Great.
Fantastic.
Before we get into any questions, I kind of want to run through our history because it's a really cool story, particularly with a hot shot like you at ESPN. It started the 2022 finale, Lions-Packers. As I'm sure you guys all remember, an awesome game. We go live to kind of just celebrate the end of the season. The Lions didn't make the playoffs, but they knocked the Packers out. And suddenly our live chat is like, Mina wants to join you. And we're like, what? There's no possible way that's true, but I send you a Zoom link anyways, and lo and behold, you join our live audience and just show up out of the warmness of your heart. That was amazing.
Yeah, for those who have forgotten, I am a Seahawks fan.
That's right.
And
We'll let that slide.
the courageous, gutsy, gritty performance for nothing but divisional pride and culture
of the Detroit Lions vaulted the Seattle Seahawks into the playoffs, which was we were Seahawks fans were very upset because I don't know if you guys remember, but like the scheduling had made it such so it seemed like the Seahawks got screwed, right? Because the Lions had nothing to play for, and this matters so much in Week 18, but people forgot the Lions always have something to play for. It's Dan Campbell's
Yeah.
Also,
That's right.
That's a real rivalry. That's not some, okay, whatever, Ohio State's still in the playoffs. No. We do it out of the spite of our heart to deny the Green Bay Packers the playoffs. But also, too, like, I remember watching you before going into the season, too, and throughout a lot of the first couple of years of Dan Campbell, there was a lot of people like, this guy's goofy, what's he doing, kneecaps, the racing helmet, he can't really be serious. And the first years are rocky, but I remember you as one of the early proponents of this whole the shebang, working out and being on a right track and being a real DC believer.
Yeah. I've often said this, that I feel like it's impossible to judge head coaches at all, honestly, before they're hired. Like Jonathan Gannon in Arizona, I think, is doing a great job. He seemed like a total goofball when they hired him, is more so than Campbell, or I would say. So, I'm kind of an advocate of just wait it out, see how the players respond to him. And I do think even something like that win, like I know I'm kind of joking about the grit and the culture and stuff, but I truly believe that winning and that playing hard in that game, winning that game, played a pivotal role in setting the Lions on the path that they've been on the last couple of years.
To you, Mina, and last year, somehow we got our hands on the Penei Sewell watercolor that you did after he caught the pass against the Vikings, and then we auctioned it off and raised over $1,000 for the Humane Society of West Michigan, which is awesome in its own right.
Yeah.
But I do have a follow-up. When is the watercolor of the stiff arm coming out?
Is that what it's going to take to get our guy on the short list for Offensive Player of the Year? A watercolor?
Yeah, play the crowd.
But
Okay,
if that's
play
what
the
it
crowd.
takes, then you got to do it.
Are you guys pushing that agenda? Is that an agenda we're rallying behind here? Or?
We're all
we
about
have to.
agendas.
He's got to be one of the most unique players that I've ever had the privilege to cover. Do you feel the same way?
Oh my God. I mean, obviously he's awesome, and it doesn't take much to realize that. But I think I posted about this maybe during the Thanksgiving game, which I know I'm sure it gave you guys palpitations how it ended and whatnot. But on the first couple of drives, it's so rare that you can watch an offense. The Niners, frankly, have been like this at times in recent years with Trent Williams, and you can see that the game is being called around a tackle. Like you can see that Ben Johnson, obviously, when you call a trick play, right tackle's running an end around and whatever it is, but I'm talking about more than just that play. The way the run game is designed, the things that they're capable of doing in the pass game, and it's actually really educational, I think, to football fans. We're so used to just watching the quarterback, and if you just take a time and watch 58 on every play, not only will you see what dominance looks like, but you start to recognize that the offensive coordinator is calling the game around him. And that's just something that does not happen very often in the NFL. So, it's a offense full of stars, and there's numerous players that contribute to that. But to my eye, he is the most dominant offensive player on what is arguably the best offense in the NFL.
Love to hear that.
I know we have a lot of Penei Sewell jerseys out in the crowd.
Do you?
So, I mean, that's not just like a unique. Yeah, there we go, Gabe. Yeah, buddy.
Hell yeah.
So Mina, though, I think the question is, we talk about, Penei Sewell, the offensive tackle. It's awesome. The offense is humming. It's scoring, over 30 points a game. But right now, the Lions they have a practice squad on defense right now. And all these defensive injuries are mounting. Do you think the Super Bowl at 11-1? I know it's hard to say. They're the best team in the NFC, I think. But all that being said, they're pretty banged up. Do you still think that they have it in them to accomplish that goal?
Well, hopefully you get some of those players back as the year goes along. I know like certain guys who are out this week on the defensive line, it's not long-term injuries, so they'll come back. Obviously, the Hutchinson injury looms over everything, but what Aaron Glenn has been able to do with this unit after losing Hutchinson is nothing short of miraculous. I mean, it's by a lot of metrics, the offense got better, which is the defense, pardon me, which is crazy. But it's been fantastic, honestly. I was like, there's no way they could play this much man coverage and, and blitz and stuff. And it's really amazing how they've held up. You've seen young players develop. He is, I think, a really brilliant play caller, but also really needs to get a lot of love as a developer of talent. And I know you guys probably don't like hear him being mentioned along with Ben Johnson as a head coach candidate, but that is something I would point to, the work that he has done with young players on this defense, the way he has weaponized guys like Brian Branch, who's one of my favorite players to watch in the entire NFL right now. So to answer your question, I do think because the offense is so dominant because of game script, I don't think it's going to be like the Achilles heel of this team. I do worry a lot about what the Eagles are putting on tape on offense right now, and it kind of feels like we're headed towards that clash, in the championship. They seem to me to be clear and away the best two teams in the NFC, and it's not super close, although the Packers are quite good. But I do think the offense is so good that they'll be able to compensate for a defense that has a lot of injuries.
Speaking of that offense and how things have kind of changed over the years, and maybe even this season, the MVP conversation for Jared Goff is on again, off again. Suddenly it's off because of 5 picks, but he still won that game. And I don't know. I remember hearing from people at the start of the year who still feel like Jared Goff is like, well, he's still got to win some big games. I'm like, he just won 2 playoff games. I feel like Jared Goff is one of those quarterbacks that has this reputation. It's really hard to shake off. And there's a lot of people who just hold their breath thinking that, oh yeah, he'll eventually show his true colors. But this is a real difference this year for Jared Goff. This feels even different from what he was doing even last year.
I would say it started last year, and I was pretty skeptical of Goff under pressure versus the blitz coming out of the Rams, and obviously the first year in Detroit. But I really saw some improvement in that regard last year, and to your point, I think that has continued this year. And I wish we could, just celebrate that improvement without having to make it about MVP, because in some ways it's funny, like, and I say that as someone who's going to be on First Take tomorrow at 8 a.m., probably arguing about who the MVP is for the 300th time, right, this year. In some ways, like, the best argument against Jared Goff being the MVP is the argument why the Lions should win the Super Bowl, which is the team is amazing, and the team is why they're winning. I have wins aren't a quarterback stat has been in my social media bios forever, but I mean, the Lions they won that game, right? Like, what? Like, the fact that you can win a game where your quarterback does that, if that's not a Super Bowl team, I don't know what is. And I just feel like what he is doing in this offense. I guess the real thing you're asking is and the more pertinent thing is not the MVP thing, but like, do I worry about him in the playoffs? I have seen enough from him and how he operates this offense and the structure of the offense not to worry about that. So I am not concerned about Jared Goff.
Last thing before we let you go, Mina, I want to talk about beyond 2025, because for some reason Lions fans like to worry in the future and not necessarily live in the present. So there's kind of like an all or nothing feeling to this season a little bit, because the chance of losing Ben Johnson, because the chance of losing Aaron Glenn, because some of those young players that they've built the team around are suddenly going to cost a lot more money. So how much do you think this team is built to be a contender beyond 2024?
I think they are. The coaching thing worries me a lot more than the personnel, to be honest, because that's it. And look, we always say, oh, he's definitely going to be a head coach. Obviously, we've been saying that about Ben Johnson forever. We have no idea if they're both going to leave, if they both are going to, seek opportunities. It seems more likely than not that at least one will, and that is a pretty significant exodus of brain power, because I cannot stress enough how impressed I've been with Aaron Glenn, this year. He's a guy who I'd always heard around the league. He is a stud. He's brilliant. He's so good as like a leader of men, and to see that play out with this team has been really cool. So that is something that worries me. You guys know the staff better than I do, who people love internally, what thoughts are about that. But the fact that Ben has been there as long as he has, and now Dan as well, gives me more hope in their ability to identify that talent and to continue what they've been building. But I think for the most part, the team next year is going to look like the team this year. Just looking at the cap, there's a couple changes. And oh, by the way, you lost arguably the best pass rusher in football, and he's going to come back. So that will certainly combat a lot of the natural attrition that comes with going far into the playoffs, as I think the Lions will.
Can we maybe get a second year of plot armor too, like the Bears game? I mean, the Chiefs clearly have plot armor, but they're good plot armor.
Yeah, crazy. God.
All right, well, Mina, really appreciate you taking some time out of a very, very busy schedule during the holidays, during all that, to entertain us and all these Lions fans who very much appreciate it too, right?
It's great to see you guys. I'll keep pushing the Panay Sewell OPOY shortlist agenda.
All right, appreciate
Thank you,
Mina.
Mina.
Thanks, Mina.
Easy. Wow. Hey. Be
Tough
nice
crowd.
to our guys.
Tough crowd.
All right.
It's nice when she answers half the questions you have without even having to ask them.
Right? That's always the best interviewers when she can,
professional.
she knows exactly what we're talking about. But let's quickly jump to some donations here, and then we're going to kind of get into a little panel of our own discussions here. A lot coming in here to start the show, which you love to see. Let me scroll all the way down here. $22 from McVeigh Rob says paying for my admission. Appreciate that. Anonymous $50 donation. Lost Oceans $50 says Lions. Write Lions by a million on your forehead.
Did you bring a marker?
I did bring a marker, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to write backwards on my head without the visual feedback.
You have a camera on your phone.
That's
you can
true.
do that.
Maybe I'll do that.
We can get somebody out there to
That's
come up and
true.
do it.
Seriously.
You know what? That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Let me get through the rest of the alerts.
Live
then we'll get to
studio
the discussion,
audience.
and I'll have someone do that off camera here.
There we go.
Trevor, thank you for the $20. Robert Bird, $50. Dr. Scissor G, $100. Madi Tuati, $236.
Hey.
Ken, $25. And an anonymous $100, which has us to a total so far. Let me hit the refresh button. 43,108, which does mean we crossed over a new 1,000.
That's right. You know what that means?
Does that mean we gotta? Do we pull out the wheel of pain already?
The mini wheel. The portable wheel of pain. The portable wheel of pain.
Let's do it.
They want pain.
All right, here we go.
If he dies, he
There's no
dies. Pain.
There's no build-up,
Pain.
just go. My goodness.
Vegemite.
The Australian delight. Crikey.
Do you want it on a piece of pizza?
I please don't disrespect it. By the way, for the people at home, the pizza here is excellent. It is amazing. Sergeant Pepperonis. Oh no. I've never even smelled this stuff.
If people don't know what Vegemite is, it's an Australian thing that you're supposed to spread on toast. It is basically fully yeast and salt. It's disgusting.
Yeah, let me hold it for you there. There you go. All right.
It's sustenance.
Yeah, hold it up really
Let,
close.
let's get some sound of the
Yeah.
Vegemite. No, not that close. I don't want it on the microphone. Don't disrespect the microphone.
That's a nice big spoonful for you
That's
guys.
a nice
Here
big
we go.
spoonful, yeah.
There you go.
To 43,000 for the Rogel Cancer Center.
Yeah. Bon appetit.
All right, well, okay.
He brought more spoons, so.
You want to get the discussion?
What? We have props? Spoons?
No, he doesn't get water.
Yeah, no water. Hey, don't touch my bottle back there.
I'm not participating in this Gallagher show.
No watermelons tonight, folks. They're out of season. Okay. You can't find the marker? Okay, am I doing the next segment? Is this what's going on?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, great. Well, it is the holiday season, folks, and we here at the live show for Pride of Detroit PODcast, thepridedetroit.com, Pride of Detroit on Twitter, Pride of on Facebook, blah, 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 blah. We believe in the holiday cheer. And one of the things we've thought over all these years is one of my favorite movies to watch around this time of year is The Christmas Carol. Specifically the Muppets one. But there was a Disney one back in the day which had Pete, was he the evil dog? As the ghost of Christmas Future kicked Scrooge into the fires of hell. Anyway, not important. Not important. What's important is we are here to celebrate the ghosts of Lions past, present, and future. Because this is a moment for us. This has been a live show and a long time in the making. this has been a moment that we've wanted, and yet we talk about brand new Lions quite a bit. But this didn't happen easily, and there's plenty more to come. So we're going to be visited by 3 spirits tonight, all of us here. They're going to fly over you up through the scent of the pizza to this stage, and we're going to talk about the ghosts of Lions, past, present, and future, and how we got to brand new Lions. Yes, ooh, Marley and Marley, shake those chains. They didn't play for the Lions. Anyway, as we look to the past, let's talk about this. So, we want to talk about the Holmes-Campbell era. So it started, let's start silliest moment first, because we started with a lot of silly. We could start with kneecaps, but everyone's done that to death.
The silliest to me is the continuing to put faces on shirts. The shirt upon shirt of celebrating each other.
Yeah. We had like an inception of shirts
Yeah.
here.
It was a very like Step Brothers-y moment of those two, which, I mean, that's like the most endearing part of this whole regime is that like they seem like they're best friends.
Best buds.
They do. They really do. Eric, do you have a silliest moment that comes to mind?
No,
Eric's all business.
Yeah, Eric, what's he mean, silly?
no. The silliest thing, like I was thinking of, like just personally, like I thought back to last year when the Lions were in the playoffs and they were heading to San Francisco, and I was talking to Chase Lucas in the locker room. And Chase, I know, R.I.P. Chase. I was talking to Chase in the locker room, and he asked me if I was going to San Francisco for the game, and I told him I was, and then he asked me where I was staying, and I told him I would stay at the airport, meaning near the airport. And Chase took me literally and said, "Oh, no, dog, you can't stay at the airport. Let me buy you a hotel room."
Wow, he really thought you were the poor writer.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, so I should have took it. I should have took him up on it, though. He's a good guy. I love him because he's a good guy. Like that.
I mean, it's crazy that we're even having this discussion in the first place because the silliest moment was the first moment, right? Like Dan Campbell's introductory press conference is about as silly as it gets.
Yeah.
But now when we reflect on that, we talked about this on the podcast the other day, but like that was a moment of authenticity.
Yep.
That was when we knew that, and we didn't know at the time. We thought Dan Campbell was talking about biting kneecaps and, outlasting people in fights and smiling while they're bleeding and everything. And it was really just Dan Campbell being like, well, this is just what I'm about.
Right.
Like, and
you
this
never
is
know
who I
in those-
am.
Yeah, you never know in those moments if he's just trying to fire people up or if that's just him. And we learned very quickly that's just him.
That's
That's
just
him, through and through. And I think for me, it might have just been all of Hard Knocks. It might have been everything there. And it's this particular line I remember from Dan Campbell, and it's the biggest lie he has ever told, where he intones, and I'm going to try to do my best DC voice. It's not easy.
I'm excited
here we
for
go.
this.
I swear to God, I'm not a lunatic. That's a lie. You are a lunatic, sir, and I love you for it.
Our lunatic.
All right. When did you know this team, this regime is special? That moment you knew this was going to happen. We could go back to the introductory press conference. Plenty of people want to walk through that wall.
I know what Eric wants to say.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, it was a slow build. There was a lot of important moments that they made along the way, but the defining moment was certainly the Green Bay game, and at the end of 2022, like that was the moment when they went from being the potential contenders to the real contenders, and it defined what the franchise was, and it defined what this regime was, and there was a lot of really cool moments leading up to that, but that was the one where they kicked the door in and they said, we're here and we're gonna stay.
Yeah. For me, it's just a bunch of like little defining moments that were just like, oh, this is new. Right? You never really know for sure that it's going to work, but this is new. And it starts actually right after the intro press conference. It's the intro video that the Lions did of him like coming into the building and seeing everything. And then when he walks out on that practice stage and he just breaks and he's like, I'm going to make you guys so proud. And it's just like, I have never seen an NFL coach that emotional just about stepping on the field he used to play on. And I'm just like, this guy is different. This guy is not the meathead that everyone thinks he is. This guy he's got a level of emotional intelligence, a level of kindness and passion that has never walked through those doors before.
And that built enough equity to live through 3 and 13 and 1, and then go through 1 and 6, where you felt like, no, this is going to turn around.
Right.
And I think that there's, like you said, the moments along the way where even though the losses were piling up, it felt like it was moving forward.
Right.
And
And plus there's, the Vikings game, right, that he loses because of the coaching decisions. Another moment where it's just like, that's different. You look at someone like the Bears head coach who's like, yeah, we played the end of that game right. I don't know what was wrong. Meanwhile, Dan
Rest
Campbell's
in
like,
peace.
I messed up. I ruined it for these guys. I'm bawling my eyes out in a press conference. I'm like, I would go play for that guy next week if I could.
Right.
Well, if I may go off the board a bit, I think for me, we talked with Deuce Staley. Mm-hmm. Not on the staff anymore, but Deuce. And this was always the big thing for me with the Lions. I knew former NFL players wanted bigger role and bigger say in a lot of these teams, and Dan Campbell built that for Detroit. There are so many guys on this roster who was like, on this coaching staff, who said, oh, right, yeah. I remember watching Antoine Randall play.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking with someone the other day. It's like, I remember Aaron Glenn playing.
Yeah.
And to talk with Deuce Staley and talk about, when he talked about what former players brought as coaches, I felt like that was the moment I knew it's like, oh, wow, this is different from the paradigm. This isn't just some quality coordinators who are now coming up here. They've got this nice, clean, nice resume on it. This is something a little more haphazard, and this could either be glorious or burn out glorious, but it's glorious at the end, no matter what.
Yeah, and we want to talk about why both of these guys are special, right? Mm-hmm. They're inextricably linked, Campbell and Holmes, and I know the moment that I think we all kind of found out that Holmes was special was when he went totally against running backs don't matter, right? He takes Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jeremy, speaking of most painful moments about to come up as a category.
I want to change my silliest moment to that.
But no, seriously, he takes a running back in the first round. He takes a off-ball linebacker in the first round, and we kind of all wait with bated breath to see how it's going to all work out. And not only did it all work out, but there was also Sam Laporta in that draft, and there was also Brian Branch in that draft. And
that 2023 draft, just absolutely incredible. And the fact that he did it and spit in everyone's face while he did it was...
it was enough to not have any inside the den this year when it came to the draft, right? Like there was enough. There was enough torched earth behind Brad Holmes after that draft that do I really need to explain my thought process or my thinking?
You guys get it.
Any of those draft classes, you can go back and find some goodness. Like thinking of the Penei Sewell year again and again. Amon-Ra St. Brown catching balls out of the jugs machine at midnight in Los Angeles, waiting for day 3, and he's about to come up. And the Lions about to pick him.
Well, look, that draft alone was sensational. And when you have Penei that's just sitting there at 7, and you have all these other shiny toys behind him, like your quarterbacks that
your wide receivers,
right? And he looked at that moment and said, "We need a pillar, and we need someone that's going to set a foundation for us." And it was a masterstroke because. In most drafts, he could be the number 1 guy, and that's the level of talent he had going in there, and he wasn't going to pass on that. And you've seen this consistently from Holmes throughout. You go back to even the year after they took Gibbs, and then they ended up getting Branch and Laporta again, just getting absolute steals in the later spots because he just doesn't miss.
All right, one last one in the past, then we'll move on to the present. The moment that tested you. I feel like we got enough POD moments here, but the moments that really, really tested you, and we're going to try to figure out things that aren't like the Panthers game and, per Chris Berman, the Chuba missile crisis.
The Patriots game in 2022 was pretty tough. Patriots game was rough.
I think we got like a reprimand from the hall monitor about that. What we said about.
I may have tweeted
game.
something very inappropriate that may have been like, "Hey, from the Lions PR guy, can you not? Come on."
Do this? Yeah.
And in retrospect, it was idiotic. I think we all knew in the moment, and I think I even said early in the 2022 season, there was a joke. I think I said oh, they're going to win 10 games or 9 games or something, and everyone's like, nah, it's not going to happen. There's no shot. But it was I think people forget. First of all, you're a prisoner in the moment in the season, right? We all want to pretend like we're these, we're not affected by the emotions. We're level-headed fans, but like once you're in the mix of the season, it's just like we all turn into insane people, right? Like we lose our mind about an 11-1 team because they got a couple of injuries. And so when they start,
how dare the Vikings stay on our asses?
When they start 1-4 or whatever it was, by the time the Patriots game hit, and we're all like, they gotta win this one, man. We gotta give it to Matt Patricia. And then like they go
Bailey
out.
Zappi.
Bailey Zappi happens. They go scoreless. I think that's a game where Goff threw it out of bounds on a 4th down or something, and it was just like, is this actually gonna turn it around?
Who the hell is named Bailey? Who names their kid Bailey?
Probably Bailey's.
Like the Irish cream?
I would just say the people named Bailey's. Those are the ones that are named Bailey.
So it's just a line of Baileys all the way down.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any other ones that were just like, it really like you? First of all, I want to ask you, Eric, because you're Mr. Optimism. Did you ever waver?
It's hard for me
Yeah.
because I'm always looking at the glass half full. But I do think in the second year, when they struggled to win in that second year, and
Yeah.
they were trying to find their groove, I think, and then Sheila comes out and says, you have to be patient. I think I was with a lot of people on that saying, my patience is getting thin. And it took a moment, but like, she came out, she made that statement, and then it wasn't a couple games later, and that's when the shift started, so.
And I mean, isn't that just a defining moment right now of Sheila too?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean.
How many of you guys thought when Sheila took over, like, you were going to love a Ford? No one.
I think the difference with Sheila is when you could see that she was willing to spend.
Yeah.
Right? She was willing to, it wasn't just what she was saying on the surface. You could see, highly intelligent, I mean, smarter than all of us
Anybody up here,
for
yeah.
sure.
Any
sure.
of us, especially me.
And, but she was willing to spend where historically her family had not. And she was willing to give the coaches what they needed in order to be successful. And that's a massive difference between her and a lot of the other owners in the NFL.
Yeah, but also not like hiring people in-house or buddies or friends and, tapping into guys like Chris Spielman to, hey, how am I going to turn this around? I'm going to talk to football people about how to turn this around.
Yeah.
And they turned around with football people. All right, we'll say goodbye to that ghost. He waves out there. And now, how did they bring in the Coast of Christmas present? He was always the jolly one. So the Lions present has been fairly jolly up until this moment. And this is where we turn to start talking about our Lions and Packers preview, which if you're listening after the fact, yes, we are doing this on a Wednesday before Thursday Night Football, the third game in 11 days. Now, mind you, the Packers are doing the same thing. They played on a Thursday as well. They're not getting, they're not even getting like short rest on that. It is a young team that the Packers are, and it is a Lions team that is very hurt. And I guess the big question, Jeremy, as we look to this, is can the Lions survive a bevy of injuries? I believe the only thing for the Lions right now is to get to January.
Yeah.
But the margins are so small between 1 seed and wild card at this point. The pressure is on.
Yeah, it is, and it's tough. I had a lot more confidence in the game until I heard at 4 p.m. today that DJ Reader isn't going to play. I think he's probably the most key injury out there because, as Dan Campbell said earlier in the week, like this isn't Packers offense that runs behind Josh Jacobs. He is the key to what they do, not so much Jordan Love or the set of young receivers. It's the run game, and the Lions have suddenly turned things around in the run game, largely because of the work he and Aleem McNeil are doing. But without them, without at least half of that crew, I think it's going to be tough. And I'm not saying they're not going to win this game, but they've the amount of injuries that they have really put them behind the 8 ball in this particular matchup. But I think what you said is also important to point out. Like, they're going to get these guys back. And if they have to win the Super Bowl as a damn 5 seed, they're going to do it.
Do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Huh?
But like when you look at that injury with DJ Reader and you look at the options that are behind him in the immediate, you're talking about Pat O'Connor. You're talking about is it time for Broderick Martin to finally get some
Taking
snaps?
the gift wrapping off him.
Yeah.
If you look at history of how they've used the backup nose tackle this year, it would be Pat O'Connor, but that position gets a lot of wear and tear, so it could be Broderick Martin, could be a combination of the both. For me, I think you just take your front seven, you run base with those front seven, and you just say your job as a front seven is to stop the run. You have a fully healthy secondary, and just let them worry about the pass. If you dedicate those 7 guys up to the run, then you're going to have a chance to stop that run. And then you do exactly what Mina Kimes just said, and you let the offense cut loose. And if you let the offense cut loose, and you start stopping the run with that dedicated 7, you're going to win this game. And it's 5 seed be damned. Let's keep the 1.
Yeah. Well, it's been fascinating, Ryan, because I feel like we went into, like, last week was the real game where we saw the offense disappear in the second half. In a way, I don't think we've seen that before. And if it's one thing the Bears are good is defense. I don't know if it's the same for the Packers in this front, but it is something where it's like, okay, suddenly this Lions offense lost its rhythm a little bit here. How did they gain that back? Who's stepping up?
The easy answer is to always just go back to run the dang ball, right?
Run
And that's
the
something
ball.
that's something that the Lions have done so well, especially with David Montgomery in the past few games that they've played, and leaning on Montgomery in the run game. The thing that's tricky this week, though, is no Taylor Decker, and you have Dan Skipper over there. And I know that in the last matchup, the Packers purposefully put Rashawn Gary over on Dan Skipper's side, and he had a hell of a time with him. So I think you don't want this offense to get too predictable, though. You don't want them to lean too much into the run game, because I think what they've been so successful at, and I always go back to that Thursday game from last year when the Lions were in Lambeau, and they just wore down that Packers team with David Montgomery. It was 30-something carries, like the most carries he had in a game as a Lion. And out of that game, it was like, oh, the Lions can just lean on the run game whenever they want to, and they can just, wear down an opponent. But this year, the thing that's made them so interesting, Eric, and so effective and efficient is they're super balanced. When they're not balanced, it's the Tampa Bay game. It's Jared Goff throwing the ball 55 times, and nobody wants to see any of that.
55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 passes.
What if it was 55 perfect, though?
This game's going to come down to 2 things: turnover battle and red zone efficiency. And the Packers have been on the right side of the turnover battle lately, but the Lions got the better of them in the previous matchup. And red zone efficiency, the Lions are one of the best in the NFL. The Packers are just mid. So I think mid.
Look at you using terms.
I have young daughters.
Can we dump some rain inside 40?
Yeah. All right. So,
All right.
Yeah, look, this game's winnable. Don't let the injuries fool you.
All right.
I agree.
Yeah. One thing we think we know. We always like that. One thing we think we know. Just down on thinking. What do you think you know about
the
this
one thing
game,
I think
Jared?
I know is the team who runs for the most yards is going to win this football game. And I think it could be either team. I really do. I think the Packers have gotten better at defending the run than they have in years past, when apparently they just didn't care about it.
Yeah.
But they're still not good. Like I'm not scared of that front 7 much at all. They've certainly become a worse pass rushing unit than they were last year. And I think we all know, I mean, the next team that stops the Lions' rushing attack will be the first, right? They're that good. They're that dominant. I don't really care too much about what's happening at left tackle, because as Mina said, like, they run plays behind Panay. And I think people don't understand how dominant the right side of that offensive line is. When you talk about Frank Ragnow, when you talk about
Kevin Zeitler.
Thank you. And you talk about Panay Sewell. Those are 3 guys that are arguably playing the best at their position right now. And when you have in football, and when you have that, you have a chance to win every single game, because you can control so much.
I think I know that you can make Jordan Love make mistakes. And I think one of the things that gets overlooked a lot by people out there is that Jordan Love, he loves to make mistakes. He is not that polished. I love watching that man throw across his body, and somehow it still gets home, because one day, ooh, that rubber band will snap back. You had him, fumbling off 2 of those in the rain.
Yeah.
He fell on him, but it's like, sure.
The playoffs last year.
Yeah,
against
playoffs
the 49ers.
That's how it ended against the 49ers. On his back foot, throwing across his body, straight to a red jersey, ball game. You telling me this secondary can't do that to him? No.
I mean, when you have Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph back there, no way.
Let's go nuts.
Yeah.
Let's go nuts this game.
So
Yeah,
one thing you think you know, Eric?
Well, I said it before. The turnovers is going to be the difference in this game. Last time, Jordan Love threw the pick six, and he fumbled the ball 3 times. Now, the Packers recovered all 3 of those, but it only takes 1 more, in order to get yourself in a good spot. So I think the Lions win the turnover battle, and they win that game.
But that puts them behind the sticks, right? And that's where, you can't lean on the run game anymore. You can't lean on Josh Jacobs when you have Ezekiel Turner out there and Jamal Adams probably getting snaps this week. Like, goodness gracious. The one thing I think I know is that Zadarius Smith, 2 sacks?
Love it.
At least minimum revenge game, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right. We will put that present ghost aside. He gave us a good feast, and we're all looking forward to tomorrow. But now it's time for the ghost of Lions' future.
Yeah.
And there's only one future we really want to talk about, and it is the... Sorry, I have to look this up real quick. It's a very obscure event. It is called the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Can the Lions win the Super Bowl? And that is what is in the future. And we have reasons for and against it right now. We did have predictions to start the year. I believe, Eric, you were just looking through those before the show, so we have a lot to lean on there. Let's start with you, though. Why will the Lions win the Super Bowl?
Because they're the most balanced team in the NFL, and they have the right coaching, they have the right mindset. They have a complete coaching staff that goes beyond just the head coach and the coordinators. It's position coaches all the way down. The mentality that they have, it doesn't matter who's out there, who's playing, they're going to find ways to win. And this team is loaded with talent. Pro Bowlers all over the place. 19 Pro Bowlers in the top, or 19 Lions get voted in the top 10 of the Pro Bowl voting right now. Like that's not by mistake. Like this is a talented roster. They're going to get healthier as they go down the stretch. They should be getting some guys back. And if as the pieces move together and you have that right mentality, it's an easy path to predict them to go to the Super Bowl and win it.
Especially, if they get that 1 seed wrapped up, like, I don't know who wants to come into Ford Field
No one.
and play the Detroit Lions
No one.
and go up against the best running game in the NFL. Like, these guys are, they are strategically using both Gibbs and Montgomery in a way that they are going to be fresh and they are going to be ready for the stretch run. And last time I checked, little John Madden, it's the team that scores more points that wins the football game. So, like, even if the defense is giving up points, you still got to outscore the Lions. And are you going to do that at Ford Field? We'll see.
And I think, we just have to remember.
Yeah, brother.
I think we just have to remember what happened last year. They made it to the NFC Championship game and probably should have gone to the Super Bowl. And this team is way better. Like, way better. The offense is better, and the defense, when at full health, and it's going to be pretty close to full health, I would imagine, assuming the angry, hating Lions god is going to let up at some point.
They're better right now than they were in that championship game.
100%. The secondary is really good, and honestly, if you get Alex Anzalone back, if you get the defensive linemen that are currently out on short-term injuries, that front seven is going to be way better, and I just don't think there's going to be anyone else that can match. Like, to me, the Eagles are the only team that can match up with them across NFC and AFC. Like, I think that's, like Mina said, that's going to be the big matchup, and I'm going to take as Eric put a couple weeks ago, I'm going to take the better coach team in that matchup.
And I was going to say, that's why they're going to win this, because they have Dan Campbell, and they have ballsy moves, and a man who does not realize when you are supposed to stop and probably cannot read the sign telling you to stop. You have a man that is not going to worry about. He knows the aggression of the team and knows how to hammer it home better than anyone out there. Trusts his guys to put out whatever they need out there, and with one of the best damn offensive line. That's why they're going to make the Super Bowl.
It's the engine under the hood. Offensive line.
Car talk.
Cars.
Car talk.
Check.
Cars.
Woo.
Bing. Who remembers car talk? Let's see here.
You got one more for us
Yes.
before we go?
Why won't the Lions win the Super Bowl?
Oh, we really should have done this in the opposite
Yeah, we should have done this in the
order.
opposite order. We also still need to do predictions. We can, just make it 2 words. Come on.
Injuries.
Injuries, yeah.
Jared Goff.
Wow.
What?
Heel
We have
turn. Heel turn.
I'm going to play to the crowd here. Referees.
The Chiefs.
Ooh. Chiefs.
Well,
does
we're
that go
talking
along with
plot
referees?
armor. No, I just feel like something's in the air in the soup with the Chiefs. Like, I don't. Something's. So they got to be investigated for embezzling. Enron team out there.
Investigate 311.
Yeah. Anyway, rank the threats in the AFC and NFC. Let's just do top. We like list, guys. Top 3 teams that you don't want to see the Lions play.
Dude, I'm telling you, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
No.
I'm telling
come
you, there's something about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that, like, if they're just going to match up with the Lions, there's something about the way that they play defense that is just extremely troublesome for Jared Goff. And you know, they're gonna have to find a way to get in, right? I mean, they're winning in overtime against Carolina, but at this point, it's kind of just as long as they survive in the NFC South, the Falcons are gonna fall on their face at some point. So like,
I don't even think they're making the playoffs.
I don't know. I'll bet you a beer, but I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are one of the sneaky teams that, like, it's not the Eagles, right? I mean, the Eagles are probably number 1 with a bullet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Eric's afraid of nobody, so
I'm afraid of.
you're the wrong person to kick this question to.
The only team that I don't want to face is another. I don't want to see an NFC North team for a third time because it's tough to beat a team 3 times in one season.
That's true.
Oh, hold on. Is Eric afraid of the Packers?
No, I think he missed the point that they're gonna win. They're gonna win the other games as well.
Well, I'll name one, and we need to go other conference here because I don't want to play the Bills in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That is a team that has fire and force behind them. Jared Cook is a very good running back, and Josh Allen is a quarterback that I want no smoke of. I don't know how people keep doing this where we start the year and just like, yeah, whatever, it's the Bills, whatever. I like the Jets. I like the Dolphins. Why? That's a team that is forged in the fires of ice-cold snow, and a team that just does not seem to stop for anything. It is a steamroller, and I want nothing to do with it.
If there's a culture that seems similar to the Lions, it's kind of the Bills, where they're perpetually like the underdog. They got a rabid, crazy fan base that are going through tables. It's not as good as this fan base, let me be clear.
We're really putting cursed history against cursed history. We're talking about a Lions team that has never been to a Super Bowl versus a Bills team that's lost 4. I want no part of that neutron reaction, all right? Like, knock them out. Someone else knock them out. Chiefs plot armor. I don't even care about facing the Ravens.
I want the Chiefs because I want to ruin their chance at a 3-peat.
That's right.
Oh, I love that.
Really break that plot armor.
Yeah, I mean, that funny enough, that would be like a David versus Goliath, right? Like, everybody would feel
that's
like
how it'd be sold.
ready to coronate the Chiefs, ready to have Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift get married.
Don't you think the Lions have outgrown the David, though?
I feel like at this point, people are exhausted of the Chiefs. They're exhausted watching them win these games in dumb ways.
I mean, you have like talking heads that say like, hey, you know, as long as the Chiefs are winning close games, like that'll get them ready for the postseason. Defense. And you have Nick Wright, noted Chiefs fan, who's calling Jared Goff a civilian. Yeah, right, okay. Nick Wright. Oh,
wrong.
Yeah, Jared Goff's great, right?
Yeah.
All right.
You saw the move.
Can we do predictions?
Do a quick prediction of what's going to happen this year.
What's going to happen this year, Ryan?
Well, I know Eric was looking at predictions, and I predicted the Lions to go to the Super Bowl and face the Baltimore Ravens.
And then what happened?
Eric, what was your prediction?
I had Lions-Chiefs, Lions winning.
I didn't put mine down on POD because I was forgetful, but when I was doing a Fox Sports radio show, I believe I got really jacked up and I said Lions 16-1, which they're still on track to do. And I also said the Lions would defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars in the Super Bowl. And so we can throw all of that out. Listen, I said Jags, surprise over the Bills. I never ask. This is why I submit ties every time they ask for score predictions.
I was going to say, how'd you predict him to go 16-1? He picks a tie every week.
Very carefully, that's how. Yeah, I did it on a live show.
Check, another one. Card talk.
We did it.
Yeah.
What was your prediction?
It was Chiefs over Lions in the Super Bowl. Emphasis on was. It's Lions over Chiefs.
Yeah.
They've caught on to your pandering, dude.
Really shifting with the tides.
Shave his head.
Hey, y'all got a lot of work to do, all right? We're still only at about 44K, all right? Pull out those wallets.
Did you hit that refresh?
I did.
Now people should be donating out of spite for the hair.
That's right.
Oh, man.
All right. I think that was the panel portion.
I believe. One word question. Can Detroit keep the success up along 2025 and beyond?
I think they can. Like, I asked Mina
One
that
word
question. Yes.
I can never get a one-word answer out of him. Never.
You're welcome.
Ryan.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Indeedly do.
All right.
That's it.
That's the panel portion.
That's our panel.
All right. So what we have going on next, we have a guest coming up in about 15, or really about 10 minutes. I do want to remind people I forgot to announce, we're going to be doing a Q&A session in about 30 minutes. So if you guys have questions, think of them. We're going to have a mic set up for you guys to go ahead and ask us, and we'll answer them extemporaneously. But for
That's
now,
a big word.
I'm going to kick you all off the couches because I want to talk to some people about that are here for the cause that we're here for, the Rogel Cancer Center. So let me introduce to the stage. She is the Director of Digital Fundraising at the U of M Rogel Cancer Center, and he is the Assistant Director of Corporate Partnerships at Michigan Medicine. Please welcome to the stage Kristen Kuntz and Gene Skidmore. I'm sorry. Welcome, guys. Hey. I'll have you sit here, Kristen. You can grab either of those mics. Grab your phone. Well, first of all, can you just kind of introduce yourselves to the people and what you guys do here?
Sure, I'm Kristen Kurtz. I'm the Director of Digital Fundraising for Michigan Medicine, which includes the University of Michigan Health Rogel Cancer Center. So I get to work with wonderful people like you to raise money.
Yeah.
I can't get over you've got that written on your head, by the way.
I know.
Gene Skidmore, I'm the Assistant Director of Corporate Partnerships. This is not a corporate partnership, but essentially it is. POD is a corporation, and you're doing a hell of a job for the people at the Rogel Cancer Center.
Appreciate that. And it's really these guys that are doing it because it's their money that they're putting on the line. And I don't ever want that to be overlooked. You guys are putting up your hard-earned money, and that's very much appreciated, not only to me, but obviously to them as well. But yeah, I just kind of had a couple questions about, the cause, where these people's money is going to, and let's start there. Like, when we raise all this money, we hand you the big check, like, where does that money go to, and what does it fund?
So this particular project is funding a new initiative at our cancer center around specific to men's cancers. And what's cool about the fund that we've established for this is that it's going to fund the seed money needed to launch larger research projects. A lot of times you can't get the big National Institute of Health grants until you have research that supports what you're trying to accomplish. So this fund itself will help us identify those most promising projects and give them the seed money to kind of acquire what they need to then apply for those big mega grants, which is great. And what we have a similar fund that's kind of more broad, that isn't specific to men's cancers, but one of the cool statistics around that is when you give $1, it actually, we at the Rogel Cancer Center can typically leverage that to be about $8.
Wow.
So we use that money very wisely and efficiently and are able to translate it into making an even bigger impact. So.
That's amazing. That's honestly super cool. You mentioned the research part because I think when people hear, a cancer center, that they think treatment, but a big part of what they do there is the research. Do you have any examples of research that has been done, breakthroughs that have been done at the University of Michigan Rogel Cancer Center?
Yeah, actually, just a couple of weeks ago in November, we have a rock star physician that works in prostate cancer. He's actually, he leads Stand Up to Cancer's Dream Team for prostate cancer nationally. He just made a major discovery around immunotherapy, which uses your immune system to help fight cancer. There are typically what we call hot and cold tumors, and cold tumors typically don't respond. But he identified an enzyme that you can, if you target this enzyme, makes those cold tumors more receptive to immunotherapy. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can go to our Twitter at Rogel Cancer Center, and there's an article about what that research is. And then we also just launched another initiative. We have a named center, the Rogel and Blondie Pancreatic Cancer Center, which is going to be a big focus for us moving forward as well.
That's amazing. And yeah, I know so many people. The pancreatic cancer is, one of the most aggressive ones, so it's super cool that you guys are dealing with that. What is there something that you like in particular about the Rogel Cancer? Something that makes it unique to other cancer centers that really gets you guys jazzed about working with them?
Well, to your point, it's a cancer center. It's not a cancer hospital, right? So you've got the research, the individualized care that we do there, and kind of that cross-disciplinary care that we were able to do at the Rogel Cancer Center. So much like the POD is the #1 podcast for Lions football. The Rogel Cancer Center is your #1 cancer destination in the state of Michigan, and in some cases in the nation for your cancer care. So to me, it's all of it, right?
Yeah.
It's the doctors and the research labs that we were able to take a tour of when Texas came and demolished Michigan in the big house. We went that previous day, that Friday, and took a tour with actually our friend John and his little brother Ninja. We were able to tour through. I don't know. He's a little guy who's got a hell of a lot of a big heart, right? And they did stuff for the Rogel Cancer Center. But we were able to tour and just see from the little things that they do in this lab to the big things. I get emotional. I'm sorry.
He cries a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So from that to I think you got a question in there. I'll answer it now. We've got 100. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, to that point, I think I'll speak from a personal perspective. You know, I grew up, my dad had cancer when I was 9 years old. So cancer profoundly affected my childhood. And now I feel really grateful that I discovered a career where I get to do something and give back. But I came here, and about 2 years after I started, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. She had also previously had colon cancer and thyroid cancer, so very complicated, mess of things. And then, 4 months later, my mother-in-law was diagnosed. It was very random. So suddenly I went from being the person that works for the cancer center to going and helping coordinate their care. And one of the things I think is so amazing about what we do is this multidisciplinary approach. And what that means is you come in and you may see this one doctor, but you're not just seeing that one doctor.
Right.
They're taking your specific case, and I don't know if they still call it this, but at the time they called it the tumor board. And basically it's every doctor that we have. It's nursing staff, it's geneticists, people who are, have all sorts of niche areas that they specialize in, and they look at your case together. They sit in a room like this. The whole team, and everybody weighs in, and so they give you this really personalized approach. In my mom's case, her cancer wasn't advanced at all. It was like stage 1A, but they immediately recommended that she have a double mastectomy because of her history with cancer. They looked at her genetics and those other factors. Whereas my mother-in-law was further along in the stage, but the treatment plan wasn't as aggressive because the cancer type was different and her history was different. So I just think it's really cool because it's very personalized. And it basically gives you the best possible outcome because you're getting the best minds in medicine. A lot of times people will be like, well, I want to see this one doctor. You're still seeing that doctor. That doctor is weighing in on your case, which is really cool.
You get your own coaching staff.
Exactly.
Is what it is. You get your own coaching staff.
All right, last thing before I want to let you guys go. I'm sure there are a lot of people that are currently being affected, might be affected in the future. So people who want to learn more about the Cancer Center, maybe want to be involved in some sort of way beyond just donating, how can they do that?
So you can visit our website, rogelcancercenter.org. There's information for everything that you could want to do. There's volunteering opportunities. You can support through some of our events. You can buy merch to help spread awareness around specific cancer types, and then learn more information about seeking care or getting support services for people facing cancer.
I do, if I get a chance. I want to throw some stats out here because these were mind-boggling to me when I learned them today. We'll have 140,000 outpatient visits a year at the Rogel Cancer Center, right? So that's, when I saw the number, I was like, oh, that's kind of a big number, but then I kind of broke it down into 365 days a year, right? That's 384 outpatient visits a day. That's coming in to seeing a doc or you're getting your treatment. On top of that, then 80,000 infusion treatments are done a year. That's 230 a day at the Rogel Cancer Center. So to say that, 40, close to 45,000 and change, that's the impact, right? It's dollar for dollar that matters. $50 million to name, I think it was 50, is that what it was, 50 million?
Sure.
The Rogel name has given a lot of his money to the center, and you think, all right, we don't need enough, or we've got enough. We never need enough. Every dollar matters to make sure that somebody can get 15 more years of that, right?
That's right, exactly. Give it up for Gene and Kristen, everybody.
Thank you so much for having us.
I love his hair. This looks really good, too. All right, we'll look at some totals while we can bring some of the crew back if you guys want to come back here. We have a special guest coming in a couple minutes here. But let's look at some donations here. We got a bunch more coming in. Let me pull it up. All right, I have to try to remember where we were. Oh man, there's so many. I'm just gonna go through these quickly. Ken, thank you for the $25. Kelly, $30. Another Kelly, $89.89. Maybe Brock Wright's wife, I don't know.
Multiple Kellys.
TT, $10. Pirate Dog, $25. Ken Edwards, $20. Maximilian, $15.89. Lasermouth, $500. Dave Phillips, $16.14. And I think that gets us up to date. We are at $43,850. Those are straight donations. Does not include the $3,700 from the auction, which if you guys want to get involved with the auction, Google it. I don't have a link for you, I'm sorry. But there's some really cool stuff. There's a Brian Branch signed helmet, which is awesome. There's
The alternate one, right?
Does it have a mouth guard in it? It does not have the mouth guard.
Or on it.
Not
There's
yet.
a Jim Harbaugh signed University of Michigan football for all the Michigan fans here, and a couple other stuff. Oh, the signed Pride of Detroit cards as well.
Oh, I still need to sign that.
Yeah, I brought them.
Cool, we'll bring them.
Yeah.
All right. So we're waiting on our guest at this moment. Not yet? Okay, no worries.
It's a mystery guest.
They're still on time at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ahead of time.
I know we're flying through
When do
this.
we do that?
Never.
Very carefully.
Do you want to like riff a righteous felon read?
Did we skip over anything? Did we skip over any questions that you want to go back to?
We could.
I don't think.
You gotta earn it.
I don't think Righteous Felon's paying enough for this live show.
No,
No.
I don't think they're paying any.
I think we should get them to introduce a new flavor for us.
What flavor would that be?
Slows?
I-
Detroit
That
tank.
doesn't sound like beef jerky to me.
I think
that
I
sounds
think-
like something different.
I think Belief and Campbell.
Sure, as long as it's not Vegemite flavored, I'm in.
Just a dash.
Just a dash of Vegemite.
Slow
you know
and
what?
steady. What's up?
We just got bailed out by a donation that's
Uh-oh.
gonna make us fill some time here.
Uh-oh.
Hopefully
Because
it's
we got
player themed.
a $100 donation from Calder, which got us to exactly 44,000 raised.
Hey,
Nice and even.
And
There
we
we
know
go.
what happens when we cross over 1,000.
spin it, spin it.
Here we go. What are you guys hoping for?
Up downs.
Up downs?
Up downs.
Oh, I don't want up downs on stage.
Are you gonna stop it early if it's up downs?
Mustard!
I'm asking for 1 year, not full of stuff that you put in your belly.
The bag's over there. I kicked the spoon that you threw earlier.
spoon's on the ground over there.
But there's more spoons in there, right?
You have, how many spoons do you have in there? Are you Chris Angel or something?
I don't. We should probably bring somebody from POD over here and just squirt it in your mouth.
I was going to say, yeah, we've got the rest of the POD staff up on stage over on here.
I'm trying to get the crowd back on my side.
You got a lot of work to do on that.
Oh, that sounded like...
That sounded like our doorbell.
That's a cute. Yeah, go ahead. Let's start with this.
Let's start with the mustard, and then we'll check the Mr. Rogers doorbell.
Turn the TV off!
And there goes another spoon, folks.
All right.
And there goes the water.
You guys ready for our next guest?
I'm ready.
Woo! You may know him as number 84. Herman Moore is here! What's up, Herm?
Hey, what's good?
How's it going?
Hey, you know what? I have to pinch myself every once in a while just to make sure. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. How's everybody?
Let's start right there. Very simple question. Is this the best Detroit Lions team you've ever witnessed?
In what regard?
Well, let's try to keep the alpha. I mean, you played on plenty.
I mean, you got to preference it. You know, when you're talking to an OG and you're talking to guys that have played the game, it's like anybody else, man. It's am I excited to watch this team? Do I think this has been one of the most magnificent runs in Detroit Lion history? Absolutely. Do I think this team has the makings of a Super Bowl championship and caliber team. Absolutely. I pray to the God above that we can have Super Bowl victories, because I know people have gone their lifetime and they haven't been able to experience that. And I don't want to be one of those former players or anyone who says, you know what, I never had the opportunity to experience that. So super excited for this team, but you have to dial it in to me. So it's got to be a little bit more detail when you say, hey, do I think they're the best in what way? So give me some parameters.
How about this offense? I know you were part of some pretty explosive offenses, and probably hard to say that this one's better, but they got to be pretty darn close, right?
Yeah, this is a really good offense. It has, I think, the tools, the players that are in very strategic positions to make it efficient. What I love more, and I think if I had to look at this and say, do I think this is one of the most complete offenses that are playing within the system itself? Absolutely. I think that goes without saying. And I preference it like this: when we used to look at the teams like the New England Patriots, or we look at other teams that have been perennial Super Bowl teams, we can always go back and forth about if there were better Super Bowl teams in terms of talent and all those things. But the ones that have that consistency like this team has are the ones that make those runs that become really epic. So in that sense, I think this is the best I've seen a Detroit Lions team play as a complete team than I've ever seen, even including during my time in terms of playing with the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, the players. No matter what the skill set is of that player, you're extracting the best out of that player. I haven't seen it like this even during my time.
And Herm, you came pretty close to climbing the mountain. I mean, you've made it as far as the Dan Campbell-led Lions have made it, the NFC Championship game. So the question is, and maybe it goes back to what you just said about this team being so consistent, is that maybe the biggest hurdle that you have to overcome once you get that close to the mountaintop, is you just need to be the more consistent team?
You have to be the most consistent team, but you have to have the right locker room mentality. This team is not built on, make it to the playoffs, and then if we get in, we'll see how far we go. This is a team that is built on, we're expected to win the division. We're expected to get a favorable playoff position. And then when we have our opportunities in the postseason, if we execute and we do what we're supposed to do, we're going to ultimately end up in the Super Bowl. Like, that's the culture. That's the fabric of what this team is. We didn't have that. Like, even when we were there, it was spotty play. We had to have certain players play well. No, we have to have units play well with this team. We don't need, they can win without a St. Brown. I think we could win without the Barry, or without me having certain, passes, or Calvin Johnson having certain miraculous catches. But with this team, you can have letdown in areas because there's other areas that you can then pick up and the loose ends, and then make that not become a weakness or exposure. So, how far would that take them? I don't know. If they continue to strengthen that, this will be a dominant team in this era and in the way in which we see the teams are formed nowadays.
Herm, we're coming up. We just watched the Lions defeat the Bears in a kind of silly way, but that win's a win. In the words of Al Davis, just win, baby. We got the Packers tomorrow. And at the end of the year, that Vikings team that's been on the Lions' butts this entire time is right there. And I guess my way of asking you, I want to know from the great Herman Moore, who's the one team you just really wanted to beat? Who was that one? Who out of all these black and blue divisions, or even beyond the division, who's the team where it's like, I really want to put up numbers on them?
From my standpoint, when I played, or now. Oh, my playing days. So my playing days, I would say, it was the Vikings, because I always wanted our offensive unit to go against the best offensive units and say who, when we talked about the greatest show on turf, I hear you, but Barry had 1,500. I had 16, almost 1,700. Brett Perriman had 1,400. Johnny Morton had like 800 or whatever. Scott Mitchell threw for 4,000. And we threw our touchdowns and all those. No, at that time, to crown someone the greatest show on turf versus us being the greatest show on turf, I disagree. But that was the competitiveness. But I heard this the other day, which was interesting. It was, be your individual self, be your best individual self, but do it under the understanding of what the total and the big picture is for the team. And in doing that, we embodied that, but it didn't always work that way because we just didn't get the greatest play from the different positions at times. You look at our superstar players, they didn't show up in those big games like we needed them to be, whether it be myself, whether it be Barry, whether it be whomever, the quarterback. But in this game, they're not asking them to do that. They're saying, listen, we're giving you this assignment or these assignments. Dominate those. I mean, they've dialed it back to such simplicity that it is becoming the blueprint for the NFL. If you look at all the other coaches, I'm looking at their faces, man. They envy Dan Campbell. Okay, I don't care what coaching tree they came from. I don't care, who they're playing for. I don't even care what their record is. They're looking at him and going, I wish my team played for me like that. I wish the players respected me like the Lions players are respecting this guy. And now look at, you couldn't pay people above the top dollar to come to the Lions. Now you can basically go in and go, you know what, man, I'll give you half of what you made there to come here, and they're on their way. Right?
They're picking former Pro Bowlers off the pile and bringing them in, Quan Alexander, and he's ready to go right now.
Absolutely. And so, I again, so when we get into, I'm always gonna, and this is what you should do, right? As former players, you should always defend your time. You should defend your teammates, because I can't say what it would be like to play with a Jared Goff or a Matthew Stafford. I know what it was like to play with the guys I played with, which I would go out on that field and I lay it on the line for. And I will not change any one of them for any current player. I don't care if it was Steve Young to Joe Montana. Right? People want to dog Scott Mitchell, dog him. But if you get me to say I would rather play with another guy, I wasn't committed. So when I sit here and I say, you know what, I will live and die with what Scott Mitchell did, and it was what it was, and I still think that was the best quarterback for me, then you have to respect the commitment that you have to that teammate and to the team. I can only play with who I was playing with, and vice versa.
I love that attitude. I want to go back to Dan Campbell a little bit, because he's kind of at the heart of everything right now, and you mentioned this team spirit and their ability to pick things up regardless of who's in the lineup. What's your relationship with Dan Campbell like? How many times have you met him? How well do you know him?
I don't know Coach Campbell extremely well. Like, unfortunately, I always tease Lomas. I say, man, you got the inside, job, man. You get to go in, you, Barry, Calvin, Chris. I feel kind of left out. But, being in business, it keeps me busy. But I've met him, and every single time I've ever met him, it's been warm, receptive, cordial. You feel like you're part of that, and he's very genuine. And that when you meet a person and you see someone, if I wanted to go there, whether it's Coach Randall L., they would invite me with open arms into their film sessions, to their room, and to that organization, as it relates to the players and that kind of deal. So great relationship with him, and great respect for him and the entire coaching staff.
And to the Lions staff that might be watching, let's get Herman Moore involved a little bit more. Can we please?
That's right.
Yeah. It's a great organization. I love what ownership is doing. And I have to say this, players we leave, you're not going to always be on the same page. You're not going to leave under the right situation all the time that you want, whether it's the player's fault, whether it's organization fault, or both. But at the same time, I hope to be there in a more prominent position with the organization at the appropriate time. But as it relates to an alum supporting this team and supporting this organization, I bleed blue, and I live and die with these guys, not because they're winning, but because I know what it takes to be on this field and have the commitment at the level that they're having. And also to our fans, man. I mean, they've lived through it, right? So it's like, if anything else, let's celebrate them too for sticking with this and traveling and hitting the road. You don't know what that means to a player. I can tell you from that position, to travel and show that strength is just as important as when they're at home.
I don't know if you've been talking with Lomas at all this year. How close is he just bouncing off the walls? Is this the most giddy you've seen him in a long time?
It is, and I see Lomas, man. He's really leaned into his position there, especially on the radio. Really proud of what he's been able to bring and be the voice along with Dan. And if nothing else, man, he's one of those guys that has been part of the community. He's been, I think, a great ambassador for the team. He represents himself well. He's very cordial and kind. And I call him Big Brother. And he told me that they said that if they do win a Super Bowl, that not only himself but other people get rings. I'm like, well, what about like me or Jason or someone like that? I know he and Eddie, went over to like Dallas and Tampa, and they kind of gave them a ring for just being participants because they didn't really do anything. All right, Eddie came in, he kicked a couple field goals. Lomas went in, he was a backup guy, and I'm like, you guys got these rings, man. But give me a ring. Give me a ring.
Again, to the Lions staff watching this.
So this whole event that we're pulling off right now is for the University of Michigan Rogel Cancer Center. It's a cause that's important to us. But I know this holiday season you've got something going on with Toys for Tots. So wanted to give you this kind of opportunity to talk about what you're doing this holiday season.
Yeah, I'm teaming up with some great friends, man. And right now, when you start thinking about this part of our year and you start thinking about what it means to be a part and a service of your community, Tats for Toys is an event that I've gotten involved with. I mean, there's some great people that are involved with that. And if I could say just a couple of things, it's one, we're asking people to get tats, and if they bring out toys, we're going to give you tattoos. They can come out and see that. That's going to be on December 21st. Down in the city. So if they get a chance coming out, that'll be great to come out and have that done.
Awesome. Well, Herman, appreciate your time. If we raise looks like about $2,000 more, I have to get a tattoo. So I might be in contact with you to be part of that organization, get some synergy going here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So just check out Motown Tattoo and come down, meet with my guy T. And also with Christine, man, they do a great job. I'm gonna get my tats up. I can't see me right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and get them. I won't be getting lion like tattoos. I don't go that deep with it. I only put like my family or someone like that on my arms.
Maybe a tattoo of a ring on your finger if they don't give you one.
I may have to do that. Come on, man. You know what? Y'all, you're playing around. Let me see real quick. I know you guys got to go. I already got one made up, kind of ready. I'm right. So just in case, so if y'all don't get me one, I'm gonna have one ready to go either way. But I'd rather have a real one. So
I'm thinking.
Jeremy's
gonna need a tattoo.
Herm, I appreciate you so much, buddy. Thanks for making some time. Give it up for Herman Moore.
Appreciate you all. Thank you all for what you're doing, and congratulations and good luck with everything. You guys are blessed and wonderful. Thank you very much.
All right, guys.
I think you should get a tattoo of Herman Moore.
Right? Oh, maybe. On the chest?
Yeah, just catching a ball or something. I don't know.
I'd like that.
You're gonna do that you're gonna get a tattoo of Herman Moore on your chest?
Maybe.
And then you're also gonna have his wife update your dating profile to reflect that?
This turned out to be a great month for me.
Yeah, wow. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy Hanukkah.
All right, we've reached the penultimate portion of the show, and that's where we get you guys involved. We're gonna do a little Q&A.
I love that word, penultimate.
I love that word too. I use it anytime I can. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of have a mic right here in the middle of the stage, and you guys can form a line kind of between the rows here. Ask us anything you want, and if you guys are going to be too shy, then we're going to have to ask Twitch, and those are a bunch of degenerates, and we don't want to take questions from them.
If you are from Twitch and you're here live, you're
one of the good ones.
You're less of a
You're
degenerate.
one of the good ones.
We would ask people on YouTube to submit questions, but I don't think they're listening to us.
All right, who's going to be the first brave one?
Oh, we got some people coming into the lion's den. What's your name?
My name's Mikey.
Mikey, thank
What's
you.
up, Mikey?
All right, a bit of a philosophical question for you guys. All right.
Okay.
I'm a bit of a philosophical man.
We all have, we're friends of various ages in this room here, and we've all been waiting our entire lives, I think it's safe to say. Maybe not this gentleman here. Most of us have been waiting our whole lives.
First off, that's my father there, and I don't even know if
Sorry, Mr. Perfect. But
Perfect.
I thought that was for sure going to be an Eric joke.
He was looking right at me.
Yeah.
So
even Eric Schlett has been waiting his whole life for a Lions Super Bowl. I just wanted to ask you guys, what do you think it would mean to you personally for the Lions to finally win it, and what do you think it would mean for this entire fan base?
I think I have the column somewhere in my head I would like to write if it happened. But I also know I would probably be completely blacked out if it did happen. For what it would mean, it's one of the we talked about this when the Lions got their playoff wins, that it was the last great snake-bitten story in sports. But I feel like now that bar is now raised to Super Bowl. There's other teams that haven't won the Super Bowl. Let's keep that clear. But to take a team that has been nothing for 50, 60, almost 70 years, great teams in the 60s, but for 60 years, not part of the league's story at all. It's something. I still struggle to put it into words what it would mean for me to see it, and I think I have to see it to honestly make those words form in my head, because it is so psychologically awe-inspiring.
Right. For me, it's just like it's paying off generations worth of debt almost, where there's so many people that aren't able to experience what we're currently experiencing. They've never seen a season like this, and the one gift that those people have given us is passing on Lions fandom, right? We're kind of living they're living vicariously through us, and so for that to happen, for the Lions to win a Super Bowl, it's to celebrate not only the debt and pain and all the things that we've suffered in our lifetimes, but the generations before us that gave their hard-earned money to this franchise 6 decades ago and saw nothing for it for years and years and years. And so, to me, it's hard for me, especially with my dad, my fandom being 100% because of my dad, who isn't here to experience all the success and went through all the painful years. It really is going to feel like an honor to him and an honor to all the people like him who spent so much time devoted to this team and sharing that with their children too, to kind of form an awesome bond that can never be broken. And so a championship to me is just that. It's a generational bond that brings together a city that has been starved for this for so damn long.
Sports as a pro-business is a business, but at the same time, it's also a common good. It is one of the last fibers we have that unite a bunch of you out here who don't know each other from Adam to bring you together and feel like you have something shared between you. That is powerful. That is very powerful, Ryan. It is emotions mainlined straight into your spine.
Well, I think we all know what it feels like to get so close now. So I have to imagine that feeling has to be the opposite of how it felt during the second half of the 49ers game. So that's how I have to imagine what that feeling is going to be like, because I could only imagine the first time. So when we got credentials in 2017, and Alex Reno and myself, we were going to games because Jeremy was out in California. I know that being up in that press box, it's incredibly difficult to try to not be a fan. Like the very first game I went to against the Arizona Cardinals in 2017, that bomb from Stafford to Galladay, like I instinctually I can't do that. And I could only imagine you two. I know you guys are punching each other under the table, but I mean,
during the Chargers game, I was punching you.
Even though it's a job now, Eric, so to speak, it's not that.
If they win the Super Bowl, I'm going to lose my press credentials because I'm going to cry. I'm going to sob.
I will guarantee
it's
you.
Going.
I'm crying.
It's going to be awful. Like I'm going to be a mess.
Things I think I know. You will not lose your press credential over that. You will not be the only non-dry eye in that house too. Like everyone's going to lose it.
Yeah, I think the impact on this city though is really where this could be something special, right? Yeah. Like I remember when you think back to like when the Red Wings won their championships and the Thanks a Million parades and stuff like that. Like this is a football town. It always has been a football town. It always will be. And to the ripple effect from what a championship would do for this town and this state, it would just be unparalleled. Like not just the parade, but like the recognition, the marketing, and just everything beyond that. It would just be nice. Thank you. It would be just. I think it's unimaginable. I don't think we can really grasp how much it would impact because it would be tough to measure.
I remember going to the Cleveland Cavaliers parade after they won, and seeing all those people down there choking Cleveland almost to death. It was very hot. It was. I don't know how many people were there, Ryan. It must have been, it was multi-millions, but...
There's people who live in Cleveland?
No. They were coming up from like Tennessee stuff. But my point is like the Detroit parade will destroy that.
I mean, we saw what they did for the draft, right?
Yeah.
The draft was incredible.
The draft was incredible.
Blow everything out of the water. We are going to see a party like we have never seen in Detroit. I was going to say if that happens, when it happens, because it's going to happen.
All right.
All right, thank you for the question. We got a line
Thanks,
here,
Mikey.
so
Oh,
let's-
we got a line.
Appreciate it.
Wow. Unbelievable.
I love it.
We've invented lines.
We did it.
And lions. Lions for lions
Detroit
and
Lions.
loins.
Hey guys.
How's it going?
Thanks for doing this. Good. I'm Calder. Thanks for putting this on. So in honor of our practice squad defense, I'm wondering if one of you were injured tonight and needed a Lions player to step up to fill your role. So it's not your favorite player. It's the player that would best fill your role, whether that's being a machine or being adequate or whatever it is.
Adequate.
Who would that player be for you?
Ooh.
That's a really good question.
I almost thought this was going to be with POD members too, but
Nah.
no.
No one can fill our spot. We're unique in ourselves.
I'm not unique.
I love
anything.
you guys.
By the way, POD crew's here. A bunch of
Yes.
other people. Shout out
Yes,
to
by
them.
the way.
To them.
Yeah.
Go say hi to them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to buy time to figure out an
yeah.
answer to this tricky
who's,
question.
Who's adequate? Who would be very adequate to run?
This
You
seems
know
like
what?
a very insulting question
no,
to ask.
No. I mean, you know what? I come up with adequate because I get a lot of like confidence problems. But you know what? He's good enough for Detroit. It would be Jared Goff for me.
Oh, okay.
Good enough.
That
No one's
seems-
going to chant
That
my
seems
name,
like a
though.
very cocky answer.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make it cocky. You're the only one trying to do that. And you're the only one with a curse. You know what? I can't even swear at you because I don't want to pay up. Like, look at this. Filthy mouth.
Just to be clear, Eric, Don Muehlbach's not still on the team.
Yeah, no. I mean, if we're gonna just poach from the superstars, I'm gonna pick Amon-Ra because I mean, look, he's a
machine.
Yeah, he's very much a machine on the field, and we've seen from his podcasts that he can talk forever. So good for him.
He's also a mentat. He remembers everything, and I think that is very important to the Eric experience.
That's true. Can you name all of the people who were drafted before you? I think my answer would be Jack Fox because sometimes he doesn't have anything to do. So you might as well put him to work somehow, right?
I like that.
Yeah. Earn his
My-
keep.
I would have said because you hold this podcast together.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
You're not going to answer that, Jeremy? What's yours?
I don't know.
Come on, you've had all this time. We've stalled this
know.
long.
Bates, Jake Bates.
I was about to say, we've stalled
In the ultimate irony of me and hitting special teams, it's Jake Bates.
we've stalled this long to get you onto the field. It's time to take the snap.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a serious answer, I don't think. I'm sorry.
Well
Thank
done.
you, Calder.
Yeah. Thanks, Calder.
Yeah, thank you, Calder. Appreciate it.
Hey, my name is Jason. This is going to measure how petty you guys are. What gives, Lions are 11-1. We're all super happy with that. What gives you more satisfaction, that or the ultimate collapse of Aaron Rodgers this year?
Oh, come on.
Oh, my God.
This is a very tough one for him.
No, it's not tough at all.
This is-
the ultimate collapse of Aaron Rodgers. 100%.
Is this, though?
No, it's not even close. It's not even close. 11-1's great, but they're going to be 11-1 again. The collapse of Aaron Rodgers is epic. Just
That's now. That's this season.
yeah,
We're
it's this
witnessing
season.
it.
Yeah, just this season. I hate Aaron Rodgers so much.
How much do you hate him?
And my pettiness comes out, especially when we go back to that 2022 Packers game and we talk about that again. Congratulations! I wish I was there. I hate him so much. I'll just end it there.
Do we need to watch his Netflix show on here for you?
Dude, you'd have to Clockwork Orange my eyes.
If we get $100,000 tonight,
Eric will consider.
The Netflix series. I think there is something so sublime adding Aaron Rodgers to the mix of the New York Jets, one of the most over-talked teams in history. I still remember when we were starting the podcast that year prior, they had Sal Palantonio out there watching practices for Tim Tebow. and talking about the Wildcat. And that same year, Mark Sanchez has the butt fumble on Thanksgiving. Like this, and yet all ESPN, like all Sports Center was talking about was like, oh yeah, Fireman Ed is being bullied out of games. I don't care about Fireman Ed. Shut up. I'm tired of the lives of New Yorkers. That Austin Capobianco guy, it might as well be Satan to me. I don't want to hear about New Yorkers. And now you're adding Aaron Rodgers to the mix, a conceited town with a conceited individual. Are you kidding me? He played, 4 snaps this first year, and now this year, an off season spent with like, yeah, we need to get all distractions out of the locker room, and then being the 200% distraction.
Yeah, hey, there's a mole in the locker room, and I don't know who it is, says Aaron Rodgers, but there's somebody.
Could be any of us.
Could be any of
He
us.
says wearing a hot dog costume. It's
While
somebody's fault.
While on the Pat McAfee show.
But Jeremy, how did it truly test you that first night he runs out with the American flag, he's Captain America, and then he gets hurt, and it's like, I don't want to root for an injury, but at the same time, you suck.
Got a hand to him.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, I'm just gonna kind of quiet. I'm not gonna say anything on Twitter. Not gonna celebrate it, but like inside, be like, great. Now we don't have to listen to him the rest of the year.
Spoiler alert: we did.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Gave him more couch time.
Oh, that's true.
I laughed out loud. Like that's how petty I was. I'm that petty when it comes to Aaron Rodgers.
There's your answer for how petty. Yeah. There you go.
Appreciate the question. You can applaud for our audience.
Yeah, give it up for them.
Hi guys, my name's Keaton.
What's up, Keaton?
I have a question about who your favorite NFC North player is that's not a Lion. I have some obvious caveats before we start.
Okay.
Ryan, you probably know yours, which is...
It's fair. I'm
Well,
glad,
we know
I'm glad he's not playing tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that would be boring. I also have one for Jeremy and Eric. We cannot do Aaron Jones.
Fair enough.
It's clear.
Yeah.
So all of an NFC?
All NFC, just but not a Lion.
NFC or
NFC North? I think it
I'm
was
sorry, NFC North.
NFC North.
Okay.
NFC North.
Okay, I think this is easy for me, actually.
Yours is Jordan Addison, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
Why would I do that?
USC.
Yeah, but there's another USC player. I'm not even going to do USC.
Sam Darnold.
There's a lot of USC in the NFC North. I am realizing now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to give. I'm going to try to give an answer that's not going to play to this belief that somehow I am a stan of Caleb Williams. You have to try. I am going to really have to try, but actually, it's a very easy answer here, and it is still for me. And I hate to go to the Bears for it, but it's Jalen Johnson.
He's a good player.
I think Jalen is a phenomenal. I think I said a couple times on trade deadlines, I really want Jalen Johnson on the Detroit Lions. He seems like the kind of guy that is built for this team and for this, for this DB group. And it never happened, but I still love watching Jalen Johnson play. And he was a menace on Thanksgiving, an absolute menace.
He's a really good player, and he's also a really good trash talker, which I
Yes,
kind of
he is.
respect, honestly.
Yes, that's the other reason.
I have to look at the depth charts because I hate them all.
We're circling back to the pettiness of Eric Schlitt.
What about Darnell Wright?
I was going to say Darnell Wright's probably the one.
Yeah.
I hate that the Bears have a good right tackle. He's a good player. Good person, good player.
I really hate so far we're two Bears players.
I kind of like it, though. I don't want to give any credit to the Bears or the Packers or the Vikings right now. They're the two competent. Like, let's just say, like, these, I don't know, these cute little Bears. Aw, they're so cute. I like them.
Little Caleb.
I don't know. You got one?
I'm thinking of a bear
See,
with
you can
painted...
say Jaden Reed. I can't say Jaden Reed. I'm a Michigan guy.
I'm thinking of a bear now with painted claws like Caleb Williams.
Jeremy, noted big Michigan fan.
Yeah, as of 3 days ago.
Once again, as of 3 days ago. Speaking of someone who has a job that should have been out the door with Matt Eberflus. Job?
I don't have an answer.
You don't have an answer.
I'm going to side with Eric Schlitt because I think that's the right answer. I don't like any of them.
TJ Hawkinson.
Low on the list.
Wow.
Low on the
Are people
list.
still mad about the comment he made after he got traded?
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys are super petty.
Actually, I'm actually not mad about that
There are
comment.
people that are, yeah.
Was he the one who was mad about Kirby Joseph hitting him?
No.
Okay, that was the
No.
Rams guys. Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
Nope.
Hawkinson called it like it was.
That was another former Lion
Matthew?
who was upset about Tyler Higbee getting hit.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's good.
All right. I think we're both going to bow out because I just gave a joke answer.
Okay, well, congratulations. We've given a half answer to a man named after the best Batman on Earth. Thank you, Keaton.
You took great, yeah, absolutely. Dylan, right? You hear this? Michael Keaton, the best Batman, but Keaton,
wow.
you took away Malik Willis.
I know. It's not
How
fair.
can you do that?
I mean, I wanted to push you.
Yeah.
To really.
Look,
try to
J.J.
explore-
McCarthy.
I took out every USC player off the board. There's a lot of them.
There's a great J.J. McCarthy tweet that I have from the beginning of last college season where I was like, I have as good of a chance making my way into the first round as J.J. McCarthy.
Both of you guys were non-J.J. McCarthy believers. You're like, first round, that's no chance.
Yeah.
I don't. You know what? I'm going to
apologize. Apologize
No.
right to the camera.
No, I am not going to apologize.
J.J. McCarthy, I'm so sorry that you're not doing the job that Sam Darnold can do.
I'm not doing this because as much as we've propping up blue around here, there is some green in the audience, and I want to keep my access to certain circles.
Yeah, this is a charity event after all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Keaton.
So hi, I'm Jamie. So as strange as it is to say this out loud, teams are now trying to replicate what the Lions have done over the past few years.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, given that we've come from a certain achievement of ineptitude in our history as a franchise, do you think there's another franchise out there that could actually have the patience to do a full, all-on reboot of an organization like we did?
There are different types of ineptitude in the NFL. We just saw some of it on Thanksgiving, by the way. Yeah. I mean, for what it is with the Bears, that is a team that finds incredible ways to screw up development of their quarterbacks and just keeps going back to like, yeah, we only play one side of the ball. It's defense. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they have. The problem is you mentioned the patience for it. And right now, I don't think the McCaskies, I think they have almost too much patience and also not enough money to throw around with this kind of stuff. That's a fantastic question because now I'm thinking about patience because like the Giants are inept, but they're inept in a very different way in that nobody is intelligent at the top of that organization. I feel very strongly saying that. You have the Jets who are inept in a very particular way. You have the Bears who are inept in a very particular way. You have the, I'm starting to run out of teams that I think, Jags, Browns.
They're out there.
The Browns are not patient. The Raiders, I don't want to say anything nice about the Raiders. I think I picked them at the start of the season to have 2 wins and a tie. That's the big key, though, right? Is the patience. This is what set
The ownership,
the Lions,
right? The ownership patience.
We had a luxury. We could do that because we were already
Yeah.
at the bottom.
Jamie, you nailed it with the patience thing because NFL owners are not patient people, and it's a rarity to be able to do what Sheila did, to be able to give them long-term contracts and just say, just wait, we believe in what they're doing, and now and how the NFL is designed nowadays, it's designed to produce immediately, and if you don't, then you're gone, and that's such a commonplace in the NFL that I do think it's very rare and very unlikely for a lot of teams to be able to replicate what the Lions did for that specific reason that you pointed out.
I think the closest is the Bears because they do have patient owner, but it's almost to a fault. And the problem for them is that they also are going to be very cheap, Ryan.
Yeah, but you also have to get the right head coach, right? And I heard some smatterings of the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? Like they're a team that at the beginning of this year, Shad Khan was like, oh, this is the most, talented team that we've ever had in Jacksonville Jaguars history. And this is also the same guy that hired Urban Meyer, okay? But I think if you get the head coaching hire right, then some of that other stuff kind of will fall into place. And I think I look at a team like the Chargers, and you have Jim Harbaugh, and if he's interested in setting up his roots in LA and sticking with the Chargers for a while, I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? So I guess patience of the head coach and not just ownership, but I kind of view them as being like, hey, you got Justin Herbert, you got Jim Harbaugh, I mean, a good defense.
The Chargers are a really good answer. That is an organization. First off, they should still be in San Diego. I'm just going to keep it up there, but like if we can't have that, at the very least, like, I mean, man, Justin Herbert's already playing a lot more comfortable than he is. This is a team that has always been Chargers Charger, and I think if anyone can pull out of that tailspin, it might be them because they already look like a completely overhauled team, and they still can add a lot of pieces to that roster.
as a former Cali boy,
Yeah.
I mean, you know how that pecking order goes as far as like who gets the pub in LA, right?
Raiders.
And the Chargers don't have that kind of pressure.
Right. That's true. It's a really interesting organization because you feel like they've had the players in the right place for decades almost. And so, yeah, sometimes it is just a matter of getting the right coach in place. And whether that's, I don't know if that's kind of the same conversation of having patience or not necessarily, but it's a matter of just getting all the right parts in place in harmony. And that's the one thing that the Lions did really well. And I think what was really miraculous about what the Lions did is that it all happened at once. In a matter of like a year and a half, you got Sheila in the building, you got Chris in the building, you got Dan in the building, and you got Brad in the building. And they all worked so well together. And it's not so much that it was just patience to me. It was just a matter of getting the right people with the right mindset that are such good leaders, right? That are able to work together. And they say it all the time, there's no egos in the building. And that's, to me, the more rare thing in this league. How do you find a coach that does not have ego? How do you find a GM that does not have an ego? An owner that does not have ego? Finding that is like finding a needle in a haystack, and somehow the Lions did it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
Hi, my name's Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Jay.
The urge to quote Dwight Schrute the entire time I was in line there is so strong right now, but I'm going to fight it. So, mine's going to be obviously about Hutch. Sure. We all seen the injury. We all died a little bit in Dallas when it happened. And we see he's now up. He's walking.
Yep.
Probably with a boot. I couldn't tell. Either way, I'm excited to see him walking.
Sure.
Now, obviously, the talk of the town is that he'd come back for the Super Bowl. What would that look like? And I can tell you I'm a little frustrated and stressed out about it.
Well, first off, I think "Died in Dallas" is a Hank Williams song. Never mind. Sorry. What would it mean for Hutch to come back?
I mean, it'd be huge if it happens. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth every day whether I think it's actually going to happen or whether this is just like a carrot in front of him to kind of motivate him to get ready. Let's start there. Do you guys actually think he could be back for the Super Bowl?
It's right on the fringe.
Yeah.
Because it's not just getting walking, but running and then like being able to cut and perform at a high level. Like those are really hard things to do in a short span of time. I tend to lean towards the Hutchinsons being one of the best marketing families in the entire world,
Yeah.
and that they're doing a good job of keeping his name out there.
Looks great at the games. He looks great when he visits.
Yeah, and they're very smart in keeping him out there and keeping the hope alive and keeping his name at the present of everyone's thoughts. I think it's a really hard ask, though, from a physical standpoint, just because legs are different than arms. Like, Anzalone should be back, right? We all expect that to happen, but with Hutch, it's a tough spot.
You don't want him back at 80%. You want him at 100.
Yeah, and look, they're not going to risk his future, even if it's for the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Well, to borrow something from Chris, I'm going to give you a one-word answer. It would be miraculous, in my opinion.
But at the same time, like, if there's a guy who's capable of doing miraculous things,
That's
probably
it.
Aiden Hutchinson, right?
That said,
Certainly.
I am kind of getting tired of the State Farm commercial. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little bit tired of Bundela Save.
Yeah, he could have done a little bit more of the ballet.
All right. Thank you for the question. We're going to try to, we're almost here at 9, so we're going to try to get through these last 3. Is there 3? Yeah.
Why are you in the line?
No, I'm Jack Churchill UO. Because I volunteered as tribute for the Twitch chat.
Oh, okay.
Ty
By the way,
Schulter.
this is Ty Schulter.
Is anyone here a Pride of Detroit Direct subscriber? That's the man that you owe a lot to because he's doing some fantastic work.
Yeah, so Jack Churchill UO says, to go with the Lions video they just posted, which I have not seen this video, which player would you be cool with dating an age-appropriate relative?
Oh, boy.
Right? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I
man.
said, whichever's the best question, chat, I'll go ask. And this is what
I'm gonna say Hogan Hatton. Long snappers are notoriously very gentle, awesome people. And let me also tell, honestly, hold on, yes.
Gentle?
There is no one that is more, okay, that is a weird adjective to use, I'll admit.
Wow.
But that guy is like, I know we always call like Sam Laporta the golden receiver, right? Like he's got that attitude. Hogan Hatton is just like, he's always in the locker room. He's always smiling, up to do any, like, You compare it to Don Muhlbach, who I wouldn't call curmudgeon necessarily, but like, he didn't think anyone in the media was interested in him, so he just kind of lived in his own corner. Hogan Hatton's just walking around and be like, hey, guys, you want to talk? Like, okay, love talking, man. Like,
after preseason game 3, when his job is on the line and like he should be stressed out as he should be, he is walking through the locker room, exiting with his bags, and he looks at me and he goes, another day at the office. And it like literally did this with his arms and walked out the door and left.
But you know why? Positional versatility.
That's right.
That's right.
Linebacker.
Long
snapper
why haven't we talked about that?
linebacker.
The team needs a linebacker. Why haven't we talked about Hogan Hatton?
We're looking at all these external options. They got one in-house.
Let Hogan Hat wear many hats. That kind of brings me to my answer, though. Because, you know, the old adage is everyone's favorite person in town is the backup quarterback. I think I'd let Hendon Hook.
Maybe don't put it like that.
So my answer, which is much more grade appropriate, is Frank Ragnow, because he's always giving.
Frank's a great answer. Frank is a great answer.
So, what was that motion? Can you do that motion again?
Yeah, bend over, I'll show you.
Frank's a great answer. Frank's a great human being.
Frank's like the consummate human being, right? Like,
yeah, the nice thing about this team is that there's a lot of guys that are really good human beings on this roster, which is what really I think what makes them great.
No turds.
No turds.
That's right. Thank you.
Appreciate the question.
Hi guys, my name's Paul.
Hi, Paul.
I've been listening to you guys for almost a decade, so
man.
I feel
I
like
know.
today's been a great culmination of the POD cast and everything we've been doing.
Hey, real quick, if people have, you know, we got him here, we got everyone else. If anyone else has been watching since the days we were doing this on Skype and had no clue what we were doing whatsoever, thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
So we've had the POD. So we know there's been a lot of highs and lows with the POD cast, with the Lions, but what has been your favorite moment producing, writing, podcasting in the last decade?
Man.
So I might have a list cast of this.
Perfect.
Well, you got to pick one. We're already at 9 o'clock here.
I know. I mean, I had the rants when I would start a couple of seasons. We had, Mina Kimes, that party after the Packers game in 2022 was nothing short of phenomenal. But I'm going to involve my man here, Brian, for a second.
Ooh.
I'm going to involve something we haven't talked about in a long time, and it's an episode we did involving 2 words, Punta Cana.
Yeah, I've been there.
That was a long night.
Well, that was the most successful Lions season. And granted, we both got hired in 2015, the 2015 off season. But you know, the little dip in 2015 and then 2016 was. I mean, you guys remember 2016? It was the 9-7. It was. Was it 8 come from behind victories by Matthew Stafford? It was the ultimate roller coaster of a year. And right after the Lions beat the Saints, I got on a plane and I went to Punta Cana and I celebrated accordingly. With quite a few El Presidentes.
And the Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid, I remember, and 2 trips for room service.
At an all-inclusive resort, room service just keeps coming. You know what I mean? So
where you were also gambling on NBA games too, I believe.
Well, yeah.
You're offshore. You're offshore at that point. You're allowed to.
Everything's on the up and up, guys.
I'm not saying it wasn't.
But I think my favorite part of that, though, is when you set the podcast audio to the Super Mario music. I think that was the best part.
I believe I need to push that again. It's been buried a bit, but if people remember, there was a Punta Cana supercut of Ryan acting very Ryan, and we were just trying to talk about the Saints game. I don't know what it means either. You were in your bag that night. All right, you were being very cool.
Half in the bag, I think, is how it goes.
Eric, what's yours?
I think mine was just the starting the mailbag, right? Starting and seeing where that evolved, and then, you know, doing Spotify Live and shutting down 4 or 5 different platforms as a trio, Locker Room and all those other old platforms that never lived. But I just kind of happenstanced into this podcast world here with POD. It was just. It started out where I said, you know, I'd like to do a show, and Jeremy said, well, what's your idea? And I said, well, let's try and replicate some sort of Q&A thing, and it just kind of evolved from there, and then it allowed me to become part of this community, and so that's my favorite. It's just getting a chance to join.
And for me, honestly, it's the Movember stuff. It's just, we're not the first one to do it. We're not, doing a telethon is certainly not original, but once I saw the passion of Lions fans, the ability to draw a crowd on a random Wednesday night and fill up YouTubes and Twitch chats, I knew I wanted to do something with the power that we suddenly had, being able to draw you guys here and turn it into something positive, because as much as we like to think that we give you guys something, you guys give us something in return, and to be able to harness that and not just fill our own pockets, but fill the pockets of people in need, I think has been the most rewarding part of this job, period, and I have a pretty damn cool job.
And if I can add one last thing for myself on a personal note, this podcast really did change my life around, and I was able to put myself back to school, and one of the things they said for my acceptance was like, yeah, you do audio, you're doing a podcast, you're doing a big podcast. I'm like, yeah. So like, you guys really helped get my life turned around. So thank all of you.
Appreciate y'all. All right, we got one more. Thank you so much for the question. We got one more.
One more.
Hey guys, Dylan, Metro Detroit.
What's up, Dylan?
I just want to say this is awesome. It's been a great time. I wish you guys would do this more often. But kind of want to hit on some of the signings they've had in the last week. Obviously, it's easy to get excited. You get the ESPN update, Quan Alexander, 3-time Pro Bowler, and then it kind of takes back to reality. Okay, they signed a couple practice squad guys. Kind of realistic expectations of what you guys see over the next couple weeks with some of those, 3 to 4 signings they've had with Quan, Adams, and Jonah.
Yeah, it's a good question, because we asked Dan about that this week. The 4 guys that you added, who's going to play? He's like, I think all 4 of them might play, and so
this week for sure.
Yeah, this week in particular. So I guess. I feel like Quan Alexander and Jamal Adams are kind of like the 2 guys where you're like, okay, these guys, they've played, they've done well in this league. There's someone that can maybe, not just contribute in these trying times in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but guys that could contribute down the line. So what do you guys think is like the ceiling of that? Could we expect a Jamal Adams to, he had a 9.5 sack season. Is there any chance of recapturing some of that magic?
Yeah, I think when you look at the signings, there's a very clear line that you can draw between injured player and signings. The one that you don't have a clear line between is Jamal Adams. He was brought in just as a little cherry on top of the sundae. And so I'm most intrigued by him, and I think he will have the chance to make the biggest impact, because he wasn't a guy that was just brought in to kind of fill a role. He was brought in to help try and elevate the defense to a different level.
Yeah, and when Jamal Adams gets signed, I think the first thing that everybody thinks is like, oh, do the Lions need safety depth? They have 2 of the best safeties in the NFL. But, it's the same week where Malcolm Rodriguez goes down. You talk about a guy who can play up in the box. I want to say, Dylan, that question was asked with military-like precision. But the thing with Adams I think is most interesting, and you think back to the tail end of last year with Fatu Melifonwu. He comes back, and they use him a lot to blitz. And the Lions, since Aiden Hutchinson went down, I think they have the 2nd highest blitz rate in the NFL. I think that they would really like to, ratchet that up and put that full steam ahead with somebody like Jamal Adams who can blitz and go after the quarterback and play up in the box. So I think that's also the one that I'm most intrigued to see.
I'm going to make that 4-for-4 on Jamal Adams. Like, there's one thing that we know he has a power to do, and that's just put him downhill and let that man go nuts. Like, I want to see that. I want that back. I liked when Iffy was pancaking dudes. I want something like that.
All right, I think that'll conclude the Q&A question. Thank you to everybody who joined and asked questions. I appreciate your bravery.
Thank you.
We are getting to the end here. I want to give a couple numbers update. We are up to $46,175. What should I be checking? Are more coming in right now?
Oh, no.
Let me see where, hold on.
Oh, yes.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yes.
Let me run through a couple donations here. And then no one go anywhere, because we're about to give away all of the fun stuff, including Lions-Packers tickets. Who wants to go tomorrow? Anybody? All right, we got a bunch of, I'm going to try to run through these as quick as possible. Some funny. We'll start with this one. A $1 donation from Hugh Janus. What does that mean? Hugh Janus. Very clever. $16 from Dylan Stowacki, $69 from Kunj, $25 from Celestial Soldier, $20 from Luxtables, $25 from Lions Blood. Matt Patricia's ATV with a $5 donation.
That thing has a wallet?
It was big enough to have one.
Nick Ola, $25. Alex, $50. Justin Sane, $20. Line and Weight, $120. Nap Dance Queen, my favorite nickname, $300. Jerry Lemieux, $921.
Oh, wow.
$50 from Drew, $500 from Yeah Detroit,
Oh,
and an anonymous 50, which has got us up to 56,225. When you throw in the 3,700 from the auction, plus the ticket sales today that are all going to the Rogel Cancer Center, that 1,000% gets us to $50,000 total raise.
We did it. And I'm proud to be an American.
So I will be getting a tattoo sometime in the near future.
With Herman Moore.
With Herman Moore.
With Herman Moore. I really feel like it should be. I really wanted to shave your head tonight.
I mean, you got 10,000 in your pocket? Or are you just happy to see me?
Herman Moore, right now.
I think it's time to give away some stuff, huh?
Yeah, let's go. Give the people what they want.
Did we ever figure out a lore-accurate reason why a Roomba is associated with the Detroit Lions podcast?
No.
I kept thinking of vacuum. I kept thinking of who's the vacuum on this team. Who is the vacuum player? Is it Kirby Joseph? It's a Kirby Joseph Roomba, everyone. That's what we're doing. It just hit me like a ton of bricks.
All right, so if you bought tickets today, you're already on the list. You're automatically in. Some of you who may have bought multiple tickets, it'll be like a +1, and so the +1 is going to win if I say +1. Does that make sense? So we're going to start with the David Montgomery bobblehead, Knuckles, if you will.
And Knuckles.
The winner of the David Montgomery bobblehead
and Knuckles
is Ashley Weaver. Ashley, are you here? Ah, there you go. Congratulations. And you'll go back in the hat for the tickets, for the record. We'll hold you out for a second here for the next ones. But what do we do next? How about a Lions jersey of your choice? I'll take your email, and I'll make sure you get sent any Lions jersey you want. The winner of the Lions jersey is Jacob Music. Jacob.
Is there a Jacob in here?
Jacob. Is that you over there?
There he is.
All right. You want to get
like to
his
see
email?
that.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right. This heavy-duty Roomba, which
Kirby
is like
Joseph.
brand new, like $300, $400 Roomba, so it's a real good prize here.
It's the Kirby
Just
Joseph of
carry
Roomba.
your cat, exactly.
Kirby Joseph of Roombas.
Okay.
That is a fine appliance.
That is. Sponsor us, by the way. We could use another sponsor. Eric Ellis. Hey, first row. Congratulations. All right, let's put them all back in for the Lions tickets.
That's
All
right.
For 2 Lions tickets to Lions Packers tomorrow night to watch the Lions win their 11th game in a row.
2 tickets to
franchise record.
No, everyone's name is back in for this one, by the way.
Yes. And if you win, this is the man you want to see. He's got the tickets. The winner of Lions Packers tickets is Scott Emerson. Scott, where are you? There he is in the back left. All right. Guys, I think that's the show.
I'm so jealous he gets to see
man.
Malik Willis tomorrow.
Let me just say this as a final note, because I've been saying this all week. This has been a dream for us for a really long time to do this.
Yeah.
I've been envious of other places that have been able to do live shows, and I'm like, I want that for myself. Now, Lord, I've seen what you've done for other people, et cetera, et cetera. I tell people all the time, our superpower is you guys. You guys respond to our crazy calls. You guys, we are nothing without the audience that we go back and forth with all the time. There is no ego up here. We want to channel you guys all the time, and I love this. I love this. It has meant the world to me. As I said earlier, I've changed my life because of this podcast, and this one right here, seeing this happen right here. And I wouldn't want to do this show with anyone else besides the 3 guys who are up here on the stage with me. These are all brothers to me. And I never know how to end a speech like that. It just stops.
I got a bunch of people to thank, too, and it ends with you guys. Spoiler alert. First of all, thank you to the Majestic Theater and everyone working with Majestic. They did an incredible job putting
Yep.
up. I mean, I spent a ton of time with them through emails before the show, and this went off way better than I could have ever expected. I mean, it's not easy to get people in on a Zoom call and make the audio work. So shout out to them. The AV crew is led by Stephen Quancy. I probably butchered your name.
Yeah,
I'm
give
so
it up.
sorry, Stephen. That's him right there. Shout out to him. The support from SB Nation. You know, I know things went sour a little bit in the offseason, but they came back with a ton of support
Wow,
for
we're
everything we
putting that
do
out
at Pride of Detroit.
What happened? What
the
happened?
fact, stop.
We did a podcast.
The fact that they supported us and believed in us enough to throw a live event, the first of its kind, by the way. There is no other SB Nation, NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB site that has done anything ever like this. And they trusted in us and to bring out a crowd, and look what you guys did. You proved them right. So appreciate you guys. To Kristen and Jean for helping us with all the behind-the-scenes stuff, getting the Movember stuff in terms of the donations and everything they're doing with the Rogel Cancer Center. Give it up for them again. Of course, the Pride of Detroit crew, not only the ones here on stage, but all those people over there who do everything they can to make PrideofDetroit.com the best website there is for Detroit Lions news. And then lastly, you guys, honestly, for making this a dream come true for us, all of us up here, for making a life-changing amount of money difference for the Rogel Cancer Center and all the other places that we have supported through the last 3 or 4 years that we've been doing this. It's really awesome to see and harness what we know is the best fans in the NFL to something that's so important and so beneficial to society. You guys are amazing. Thank you all for coming out.
Thank you.
And we'll hang out for a little bit if you guys want to shake our hands, talk Lions football, whatever you guys want. Hang out.
We got to close it the proper way.
How do we close it the proper way?
Oh, there's one more donation?
There is?
Uh-oh.
Are we shaving your head?
I don't think so.
I would hope not.
I don't think
okay.
so.
Let's get
And
this-
if I missed any of your donations, whether you're at home or here
You
in the
send them
audience,
into a
there's
panic.
so many coming in. We have an 150 from an anonymous, 50 from Martin. That was supposed to be anonymous too. Sorry, Martin.
Wow.
Docs.
Yeah, the 150. That was technically anonymous. Is that you? Shut up.
Okay, great.
I'll
Fantastic.
read your alert. It says, cancer sucks. I've had multiple family members struggle and lose a fight with cancer. Loving this live show in the crowd. Keep up the awesome work, and I'll keep supporting. Guys, you keep up the awesome work, and I guess we got a big old check here, too.
Oh, we do.
I've never held one of these before, so
wow.
I'm very
this is
excited
this
about
is
this.
fantastic. Look at this.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So in total, and I have to add mine, by the way, I owe at least a bunch of swears. $50,325 to the University Mission Rogel Cancer Center. That's you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who showed up today.
Say the words.
Have a good night. It's chaos. Be kind.
See you, Starside.